do that instead. So are you going to announce that for us now, or are we going to wait in suspense?
I can say it now. Yeah, I had the last minute idea to talk about the world of 3D printing. We've talked about a little bit in the past, but I have been doing that for a little while. So I'm going to talk about the software you can use, the different types of equipment and filament and all that good stuff. And then I will do a short live demonstration of the actual software for designing something in 3D. And it applies to ham radio very much because you can make parts and adapters and stuff with it.
My dentist makes teeth out of them.
You could do that.
Well, there you go.
My last.
Is it hard? I guess you can get hard material to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's
titanium? I believe they use.
Yeah.
Tough stuff. Sounds like the stuff like jet aircraft out of.
Yep, we're getting there. You know, I think we're only about 40 years away from walking up to a wall and telling it what you want to eat. It will happen, and this I think is a big step in that evolution. I really do.
Well,
3D printing is amazing.
We can already do that. We have the technology to do that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, actually, I'm sure.
Together.
I'm sure they could have a printer that prints in 7 colors: potatoes, gravy, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure. You know,
I'm sure
one
that does chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I'm sure they probably could. I mean, also another thing that I've seen lately that they're doing is they're literally printing the top of cakes.
Yeah.
And there's places right here in town. I think Publix does it now, where you bring in bring in a thumb drive with a good picture of somebody on it. It's all ready to go, and they will print that person's face on the cake.
Oh man!
Yeah, I was amazed when I saw it, but yeah. Here, see.
Okay, can you? We were talking before you came back.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, what are we looking at here?
Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, it looks like a long periodical.
It is. That's for. I'm just looking up the spec. It actually does 40 meters as well.
Is that the one you're giving me?
No, of course. No, this is where.
I was just making sure.
Well, one of our club members he owns this business behind this is his tower, his business, and he makes lights, street lights. That's a whole new story. I could tell you. I could talk about those street lights for an hour. They're not street lights like they used to be. They're not just a light bulb anymore. They're a full computer system. In Collier County now, you drive along some of the major, like Collier County Boulevard or Mockley Road and all the rest of it. And after about 11 o'clock at night, the lights go down as you pass them and they come up as you drive towards them. All sorts of things, you know. But anyway, cool. This is where we're going to do the Florida QSO party inside his building. And this is his antennas. But that's a wind-up tower or, tower. So it's not down. So this is where we're going to be doing the Florida QSO party. And what you can't see, the length of these is so much that they are actually bowed.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the length of this, but it's long. This is a 24-foot mast. So that's about a 30-foot boom.
Damn.
You got it from Germany. And then all these other antennas, this is 23, I think. This one's, no, that's 2.
Probably 2.
Yeah, this one here, that's 2 meters.
It's cross polarized too.
No, that's a quad. These here don't do anything. It's the wire that goes around the outside.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've seen
made
those.
This himself, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, it looks like it's an angle, but it's not. The picture is obviously tilted up. So I think that's the 2 meter one. This is 6 meters. I've got a feeling that's 20. Because he's been working with 23.
They call those tubular or
something like that.
Yeah. There's a name for those. Yeah.
Yeah. He's really into some of these weird stuff. But so this is it. This is what we're going to be. And evidently, I mean, the other night I was working a Falkland station on 100 watts, down in the Falklands, and I knew Uli was on, so I texted him quickly and I said, look at this. And he was running 100 watts through this, and I was running 100 watts through my antenna in the attic. I was getting like S1, S2, and he said his was 20/9 on the same transmission from the Falklands. I mean, he's a lot closer to the water than I am. So, you know, but I don't know. I can't imagine that thing is like 60 dB stronger than my bit of wire in the attic, but who knows, you know. But anyway, that's what I was talking to Rick about it before. So that's why I put that up. So we'll stop sharing. And then.
That's like with the hex beam. I worked just about all the countries of Eastern Europe on CW. And I got good signals, and they didn't have any trouble hearing me. I mean, it'd be a pile up, and I'd come on the X beam, and I'd get right through. I think that's a great job.
Yeah, I saw somebody earlier in the week, and they had a T-shirt that said hex rated.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, instead of X rated, hex
only
rated.
Only 1/2% of the population would know what it means, but yeah, I like that.
But that was
I
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
I just want to show you guys. We mentioned this earlier, and I just for giggles, I wanted to show you.
Oh wow!
Man.
They you don't even have to be talented anymore to make beautiful cakes. I like the one with Bob Ross in it. But yeah, look at this. I mean, you can have whatever you want printed on there. I bet these are fun at porno parties.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know, I'd like
I'm
one of
surprised that
Princess
hasn't popped
Leia.
up yet. Yeah, there you can have a frozen cake.
Well,
That'd be fun. You could have a frozen cake that was a frozen cake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think on May the 4th we could have a Princess Leia cake.
There you go.
Yeah. My friend
You
is
know,
actually getting
it upsets
married
me
on May
that
the 4th.
everybody makes a big deal about May the 4th because it's May the Force be with you.
With you, yeah.
But I think there's a much more important day than that, and that's First Contact Day. I mean, come on. Why would anybody care about something that sounds like something else? I mean, but the day that the Vulcans made contact with us, I mean, that's obviously the most important day. I mean, it's April 5th.
No, that depends on how old you are. I mean, I'm 20 years older.
Well, that hasn't happened yet, though.
Well, it'll happen in
That was in,
2063.
Yeah, see, so we can't really celebrate it yet.
But you got to.
Well,
you got to go back.
if I could, so what are you saying? Okay, the other one happened a long time ago in a galaxy.
Long time ago, in a galaxy
far
away.
That's too long. That's too long time ago. Galaxy too fars away.
Yeah,
that's
why do we care?
No,
that's right. I agree. Why do we care? First Contact Day is going to be the most important day in the history of mankind.
But what you're missing is back when Star Wars came out, and you know, I was in my youth and whatever, and we go to the movies regularly, and the movies basically were crap. And then out came Star Wars. It was a phenomenal leap. You know, at that time when it came out, it was unbelievable. And so all the people who immediately became Star Wars fans, and, you know, like my kids, when they were growing up, you know, they had all the Star Wars toys, and, you know, when they were sick, we would always watch the Star Wars movies. You know, I've had Star Wars movies on beta, VHS, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But when you go back, you know, there's some films that are monumental at their specific time. If you were there at that time, you know, like Top Gun. Top Gun's a fantastic movie because when it came out, it was, I mean, nowadays with CGI and all the rest of it, but there was none then. There's no CGI in the original Star Wars movies. There's, you know, those were little models that they made.
Oh, I know.
They
were good movies.
Photography, yeah. So that's why it's such a big thing to
I know.
people, you know.
Star Wars is wonderful, and Star Wars and
Princess Leia, you know.
well, of course,
or Leia,
of course. I mean, we had Lieutenant Uhura, and I was fine with that. But I got to tell you, when it comes to those two franchises, there, and I've said this before, and we're not going to delve into this too far because this is a ham radio show and not a science fiction show, which sometimes I kind of wish it was the other way around. But anyway, I got to tell you guys, there's Star Wars, Star Trek, and Stargate. Those are the three big star franchises out there. There is nothing bigger. You get below that, you get into Lost in Space and Battlestar Galactica and some other stuff that's okay. But those three are the big ones: Star Wars, Stargate, and Star Trek. Of the three, Star Wars is the smallest, has the least amount of airtime, and was mostly just a bunch of movies. Stargate actually has, I think, 17 seasons of television and I think 4 movies or 3 movies, 4 movies. I think 4 movies. 2 years of, 5 years of Atlantis, 10 years of SG-1, 2 years of Universe. Stargate is a wonderful series. Star Wars, wonderful series. I mean, my God, we've got over 390 episodes or something of Star Trek now. And it's crazy. Star Wars was good too, but you know what the fundamental difference is between those three franchises? Star Wars was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It was about magic and mysticism. It was fantasy. It wasn't science fiction. Star Wars and Stargate are science fiction. They're based on a probable reality or a probable future. So that's why I like them better. But that's all I got to say about that. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Star Wars. It's really, if you're into, like King Arthur and the Round Table and all that, with Lancelot and all that, it's very, very similar, with the Force and all the rest of it. So I'm guessing that he took, from that because it's so very similar with the Force, the storms, and all the rest of it. But it was just a life changer for. It literally was, very few movies are life changers. I mean, probably, I don't know, the most recent one would be Harry Potter for kids and people. So very few movies are kind of life changers, but that really was. And I mean, it brought all new, a lexicon into the language. Even the movies you see, people are always saying, "Oh, are you driving this truck or are you using the Force?" in movies that are 20 years later. and I mean, in England, we have every 4 years, like they do here, we have not referendum, where they check everybody where they're living and everything else. And you have to put on there your religion. And they legally had to make, what's it called? The Force. Jedi a religion because so many people put Jedi.
Oh, that's great
on their piece of paper.
You know what's funny is, everybody our age pretty much knows those Star Wars references. One of the references I use on the show a lot when we talk about how the government kind of fools you into things. Every time they talk about that, I always go, "Those aren't the droids you're looking for."
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knows that reference, man. It's like everybody knows that reference.
Yeah.
And that's from the first movie.
Yeah.
They were at the, Los Eisley Spaceport or whatever. And see, I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I do love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But the thing is, it's even now, I don't know, it must be 40 years easily. I don't know how long ago it is now. But even now, the kids still take it. The other one, funny enough, is the Ghostbusters. Small kids still love those movies.
Yeah, I know. I heard there's a new one out too.
Oh, really?
And also, just to give you guys an update, I didn't realize this was even going on, but we've just had a launch. We're T plus 715 right now. So we're well in orbit, but if you look on the left, the amazing part of these flights to me is what happens on the left screen.
Oh yeah,
I love these, dude. They're about to stick that thing on a moving boat.
Oh yeah, when it lands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I think that was earlier today. I can't imagine they launched 2 in the same day.
Well, it is. It says it's live, and I've checked, and it says everything about it is live. But this may be a replay live. I don't know why they would do that, but whatever. I'm just kind.
Well, that makes it a live
official
recording.
Yeah, it's a live recording of a past event that's live.
Yeah, 4 astronauts are on their way to the space station.
Yep, and you're seeing it here first on delay live.
Well, I missed it. It was supposed to have happened like on Monday, and then it was pushed to Wednesday, and then
What's happened? There it is.
Oh, it's
Bring it
freaking
back.
ads. I ain't doing no ads. Skip ads. Computer, skip ads.
So
they-
the
I
camera-
want to see this thing land on the left, and then
Yeah,
we'll go
me
on to
too.
something else, man. I love watching these things stick the landing. So this is the upper, I guess one of the. I don't know. I don't know anything about this, so I'm just going to stay quiet because I really don't know.
Man, it sure is tilting a lot. I guess that's how.
No,
Well,
I
doesn't
think
it come
it's
down at an
straight.
angle?
I think it's straight. The Earth is tilted.
No, it doesn't.
Well, hang on a sec. Hang on. We need Flat Earth Dave here because we all know that it's
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah. Well, if it veers off too much, it'll go off the end of the Earth.
A piece of cotton.
What kind of bullshit is this?
It's bullshit.
right,
Oh,
right.
no.
Important part.
Oh, there we go.
My God, we almost missed the landing.
No, they would have paused the landing.
That's true. It's
Like,
probably
like the soccer, like the American football. They pause it for the commercials.
Come on, you.
Here they
That's
come.
cool.
Wow,
I'll
the
see.
feed's
Hang
actually
on a
holding
second.
Oh,
out.
here it is. Here it is. Ah! Oh,
Oh, man.
Yeah, you can see it on
yeah. Wheels down. Or
You know-
whatever you want to call it. I know there's no wheels.
That's not there yet, is it? Is it?
Just
Oh,
landed.
yeah, it's there.
Oh, it's
It's
there.
done.
Yeah.
Them-
They're on
them-
target.
Look, it's a little bit off to the left.
All right,
Mm.
tell the paint guys to get ready. All right, we're going to put that thing back up. All right, well, there you go, guys. So whether it went up earlier or now, I think it went up earlier. This is what they're showing live right now.
Is
No,
this the
live.
official SpaceX channel?
I have no idea.
It's
Let's
probably
look.
not because I believe this happened earlier today, but it's one of these channels that's doing like replays of it.
It's Space's official channel. Boy,
Oh.
Space. It's a
Wow.
blue check. Yeah, I didn't
Has
know
its own
Space had its
channel?
own channel.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool. I got to subscribe to Space.
Oh, come on, Ian. You got to keep up, man. You know.
I wonder if Earth has a channel. Does the
Whoa.
sun have a channel?
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I don't know. Anyway.
Well,
All right.
I'm sorry to disappoint, but actually, I think the fire on your street last week was a little more exciting than that.
That probably was. I can't. Yeah, but we can't burn down a trailer every week for you guys.
Why not?
So,
Let's try it.
but I will tell you, the update is he has been arrested and charged with arson, and he has not admitted to the crime. They finally, NBC2 and Wink came out and did stories on it. You can go to their websites and just type the word Carlisle, Carlisle, and you'll get the story if you want to look it up. There's actually video, I think, on the NBC2 one. And it's it's a shame. The man lost his home and all this stuff. 2 guys, actually, it was a roommate. And but anyway,
So they
his brother. It looks like, I have to, because I'm a broadcaster, I have to say allegedly, but it looks like his brother allegedly did it right before he allegedly walked by the front of my cameras. Anyway, so let's move on from that. But that's the update on that. He's in the Lee County Jail, last I heard, and that's where he's probably going to stay since he broke all the windows out of his mom and daddy's house to lure his brother away so he could burn his house down. I doubt his family's going to be bailing him out anytime soon. All right, there you go. Real scumbag.
I've got one quick thing to add to that because we kind of jumped around a little bit. But
Yes, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, when you were talking about Stargate, I've never seen Stargate.
Let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys are into space stuff and you want more. Go back and watch Stargate. Start with the movie with Kurt Russell. Watch that. And then, of course, Richard Dean Anderson comes in. There's 10 seasons of Stargate. It is so good. And then there's 5 more of Atlantis, which is in the Pegasus Galaxy, but it's still the same storyline, some of the same people. And then there's 2 more seasons they did on a ship that's between galaxies called Stargate Universe. And I love Stargate almost as much as Star Trek. It is such a great series. It's based completely on Earth's pyramid past, like the Mayans and the Aztecs, and it's based on all that, kind of like Battlestar is, but different. It's basically all that stuff was based on Stargates, and all those kings and pharaohs and all that stuff was all built because they traveled here from other places and had this stuff built. So it's all kind of Earth's past. If you're into Earth's past, it all kind of ties into Stargate, makes it really fun. It's based in the now, which would have been now 20 years ago.
1997, I'm just reading.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Richard Dean Anderson, can't get any better than that. And he's MacGyver, for Christ's sake. So it's a good show. But anyway, you should try it. The first season's a little weak, but not bad. And then it gets strong really fast. So, yeah, if you like Star Trek, you probably should like Stargate, I would think, because it's pretty good. Lots of neat stuff.
It's either on Netflix. It seems to be. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure.
I think it's on Netflix. It was on at one time because that's where I was watching it last. And it was before that. It was on Hulu. But like I said, it's 17 seasons. Anyway,
there we go. Okay.
And I'll tell you guys one more quick thing, and I'm done with the TV stuff because I never do that on here. Battlestar Galactica, the remake that they did about 10 or 15 years ago with what's his name? Almost. I can't remember his name. Edward Almost, I think his name, or something like that. He's one of my favorites. I really like him. I'm just bad with names. But he plays the Captain Adama in that. And it's a remake of the original Battlestar Galactica, and it's dark, and it's good. And it's about 5 seasons, and it's really, really, really good. So if you're really into dark sci-fi, try the new remake of Battlestar Galactica that's about 15 or 20 years old. That was a really good series. A lot of political intrigue, lots of battle scenes, lots of good stuff. And you want to hear the neat thing? When they talk between the Vipers, the radio sounds really weird. They used a short band, upper sideband radio to create the radio communications between the ships to make it sound like it's going through space. And I thought that was really cool. So anyway, I had to tie that back somehow. That's my segue back to radio. But anyway, all right. So let me open it up real quick. Does anybody have any announcements or complaints or anything they want to talk about real quick before we get into the first topic? All right. Only thing I wanted to mention was everybody must have been busy last night. Nobody was in the WatchNet. It was a little embarrassing, but we'll get through that. I'm going to try to get. I'm trying my best right now to get more people involved. I'm glad we've got a few more people in tonight, but I'm working really hard to get more people involved. I've been spending money. I bought the websites, as you guys know. The hits are starting to come up. I went and did a bunch of stuff on some websites over the last week, including Pinterest and LinkedIn. I've done a bunch of different sites. I'm hooked into Twitter and Facebook and everything, and we're trying our best to get our website out in front of more ham radio operators. So if there's anything you guys can do to put us out there, I'd appreciate it. We're now on QRZ. If you guys go to QRZ and search for the WatchNet, or you can go to news. I think it's, what you say, it was under news.
Yeah.
Yeah, amateur radio news.
Go to amateur radio news under the QRZ forums, and you'll see an article there where someone pasted one negative thing that said I was wasting my time, and then we all attacked him, including me calling him names. So it's kind of fun. You guys know exactly how much tact I usually use. So anyway, we'll leave it there. All right, so let's move on. Joseph has has something. He's going to spend some time tonight talking to us about something that I've noticed a lot of hams getting involved in, and that's 3D printing. And he's going to show you tonight how to make a phaser that actually works with a 3D printer. So go ahead, Joseph.
Yes, we're definitely going to do that. That's exactly what we're going to do. The only hard part will be designing it and making it work.
There you go.
So I have, wait a minute. I got to put this thing on presentation. So this thing is an actual slideshow like we used to do, but I just kind of threw it together because I had very little time. So we're going to put it on. No. Well,
Where's all your boxes?
It's not real.
Oh, okay. It's not real, right. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you do view slideshow, I guess. They must have changed the name of it because it's different now. And then I'm going to
make it so, number one.
Make it so.
Okay. So we're going to talk about 3D modeling and 3D printing. Before we get into this, I will say I'm still an amateur at this, and all this is just stuff that I know. It may not be like the most accurate or correct. So, if you're wanting to get into it, you might want to look elsewhere for more professional information. But this is just from my experience and everything that we've done with 3D printing. So it still has a little penguin up there from when this used to be a Linux guide.
I was gonna say, I saw Tux up there.
You can't get enough of them.
No.
Yeah, they're cute. So we're going to talk about 3D printers and the different brands and models that you can get, because there's a very large selection of printers. They started out with, really expensive, professional only models. They're really expensive, $10,000 or whatever, and you'd buy one for your entire company. But now you can get them for less than $100 in some cases, and there are just tons of them. We'll talk about the different features that some of these printers will have. We'll also talk about the filament, because these printers are not like the replicator. It's not like you just feed it matter and just say, I want this, and then out it comes perfect as can be. There's a lot of nuance to getting this printing correct. The slightest temperature difference or crappy filament or, too much ventilation or too little ventilation, it'll cause you problems. So the filament is actually something you have to pay attention to and getting it set up correctly. So we'll talk about the different brands you can get and the different types of filament, because there's not just one type. There's different types that you can use for different things that you might want to do. And then the most important part, which is the 3D modeling side of things. So without this, you can't really do anything. And that's called Cad software. And it's used for more than 3D printing, but a lot of people use it now for designing objects on the computer so they can be turned into physical models. And we'll talk about the different options for software, because there's 3 or 4 pretty popular pieces of software. And then I will do a short demonstration of me designing a bit of a part for a project I'm working on now. And then at the end, we'll talk quickly about the slicer software. And this is what takes the output from your CAD software and converts it into something that your printer can understand. So we'll start first with the different models of 3D printer. Here you can see I have 2 little printers put here. A 3D printer is a machine. It's automated usually. It has a little computer on board. And it has an extruder, which is used for extruding molten plastic. So this is usually not your standard, melt down a reusable cup or something and feed it in there. This is plastic that's designed to be melted and turned into a object. And it can sometimes have toxic fumes that are released from it. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you're setting up this sort of thing. If you're using different types of filament that release poisonous fumes, you actually have to ventilate and do all kind of fancy stuff with that. But what we'll be talking about today, at least our setup here, doesn't really have it all that much. And but the machine itself, if you see in the picture, we've got the extruded aluminum channels. Most printers are built like this. Well, I won't say most. I'll say most of the more consumer grade printers are built like this. They've got the channels, and then they have stepper motors, which have a system of belts and pulleys and little wheels and bearings that will actually move the head in 3 different axes. So you have up, down, left, right, and then the print bed will move forward and backwards, although sometimes the whole thing will move instead of the print bed staying stationary. So you have all that, and then you have a computer on board which actually controls the movement of the servos and the stepper motors. And all that works together. So you feed it in a bunch of digital data, you feed it a G-code file, which is essentially a list of locations for the print head to go to. And then it has some other information in there like extrude here, temperature this, fan speed that. But for the most part, it's literally just telling the motors to go to these coordinates and then these coordinates and then these coordinates over a period of time. Some printers.
Hey, Joseph,
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
I need to take the screen back for just a second.
Sure.
Guys, I want to show you guys something that's happening right now. There's some incident going on. I don't know what it is in Fort Myers Shores, but look what we've got. We've got the Lee County Sheriff's Department chopper flying orbits right over in western Fort Myers Shores, right near State Road 31 and State Road 80. Looks like it's right behind that little bar right there. I just thought this was kind of cool, so I thought I'd throw it out here so you guys could see this. This is happening live in real time. I've got this on, let me get this out of the way. I've got this on my other computer and I'm screen capturing it for you. But you can see there's his orbits. When it goes flat like this, it's because I did not pick up the waypoints as it went around because my antenna was too low or there was interference or whatever. But I'm getting this live on my antenna that I built that's out on the side of the building here. And he's probably, you can see here, he's 6.8 miles away from my shack. He's 975 feet at 84 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now, if this doesn't make you want to build one of these things and hook it up, it's $40. I mean, come on. You need a good piece of wire too. But yeah, you can build one of these for even if you bought the antenna, you could do it for $100.
Wonder what they're looking for.
31.
I don't know. It won't tell us that. And while we're watching this for just a second, and we're going to go back to Joseph, the Lee County Sheriff's Department, the entire Lee County trunking system just changed to a new P25, I guess it is, system. Isn't that what it was? And we're actually working on getting that set up now, both at work where I work with the media, and also Joseph and I here in the shack. We're going to be trying to get that new system hooked up to where we can hear them again. Right now, your Broadcastify feeds for Lee County Sheriff's Department, Fort Myers PD, and all the fire departments and EMS in Lee County is down on Broadcastify. And it won't be back up until we can get this new scanner data and get it all and put it in all the different scanners around that everybody has. So, but just to let you know, that's what's going on with that. And but we do still get this data here. You guys can see that tag, right? It actually says Lee County Sheriff's Office Airbus Helicopter Squirrel AS350BS. Or is that B3? I guess I guessed on the last letter. It's B3. And there's their call sign. The aircraft tracker, we built this for a show. A lot of you guys probably remember it. We built this for a show, and I have not turned it off since. We take this to the cabin with us, and I stick it out on the deck with a clamp. I got it on a piece of hard wire, and I just stick it out there, sticking up in the air about a foot off my deck, and we pick up planes all the way down, taking off from Atlanta. It's amazing. So we have a lot of fun with this. And if you want to build this, go back to our YouTube channel and look for it. It's on there, aircraft tracking system, and watch it. We go through the entire process of how to build it. It uses a $40 RTL STR little, I don't know where mine went, but you know what I'm talking about. A little software defined radio that plugs right into your computer, and a decent piece of wire that gets you up above your shack, and then a little antenna that you build out of a plug that you can buy for $3 or $4. It's really fun, and it's easy. And like I said, this is something I keep up all the time now. And you can do all kinds of stuff with the data. You can even combine the data with other people's data. You can share the data online with a data service that shares the data with everybody. You can hook your data up with other data and see it all on your screen. I don't know.
A lot you can do.
I love it, man. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just a geek. I guess I'm just a geek.
Is that picking up the transponder signal, or
Yes.
Or is it like flight aware?
No, this
No.
is direct from the aircraft.
No, I have an antenna out here that gets this directly from the aircraft. Each aircraft has a beacon on, what is it, Joseph?
1.09 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Also
And-
on 800 something, 890 megahertz, I believe, as well.
Yep. And it basically squawks out every second. I'll show you guys. I can actually show you what it looks like. This is what the raw data looks like that's coming in. And what ends up happening is I have this program that ends up decoding the data and sending it to the map.
How is it you're singling in on one aircraft?
When you're looking at the map, and let me go back to the map here. Let me figure out how to. Where's my menus? Hold on. There we go. Let me get back to the map. When you're on the map and you zoom out, you can see all the aircraft on here.
Oh,
See all the different aircraft?
yes.
But I saw him. You can see him there.
What's going on there?
And then and when you click on him, it brings this up. Then you can click it again, and it will bring up as much data as it can come up with. It'll even search the internet to see if there's data. Like you can go, and I'm sorry, Joseph, we're totally off track
You're
here.
fine. You're fine.
We're going back, but see, like you can click on this plane right here, and it will tell me all kinds of information about that plane. It will also pull up pictures if one of the online services has taken pictures. It actually pulls several online services. Here, let me pull up this one and see if there's pictures. There we go. That's what that one looks like. So it'll sit here and track it. It also tells me off the internet data that it's going from Dallas to Nashville to Pittsburgh, and then it's going to end up in Phoenix. I'm hooked on this like phonics, man.
I gotta get mine set up here. I don't even have one yet.
I love this stuff. And I got mine set up to where the lines show me the altitude. The red lines are over 40,000. The pink lines are over 30,000. Blue is over 20,000, and so on. When you get down to yellow, yellow is down under 1,000 pretty much. And then if they're down under like 500 or something, it turns white. So he's staying down here. He's staying at about 925 feet. They've probably got somebody bed down and they're doing a canine track, if I had to guess. And he's starting to expand west. So they might think he might be across 31 by now. But they've probably got a perimeter set up. I don't know what I'd do without this. It's kind of like crack. Okay, let's go back to Joseph. I'll keep an eye on that. I don't know if I can tell you what's going on, but I'll check the news sources real quick while Joseph's working on this segment here. Go ahead, Joseph. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. I got reminded me that I need to set mine up here. Maybe I can 3D print a little mount for the antenna.
There you go.
Design a little mount. Maybe that's what I'll make tonight. There's just a little bracket for it. Where do we leave off? I was talking about what a printer is actually made of. So I talked about you can see the picture there. It's got the frame. It's got a little power supply on it. It's got a little screen in the bottom right. You can select your file. You usually put an SD card, a micro SD card into the little computer, or you can plug it in over USB and control it directly with the computer. Most like cheaper printers don't have some of the advanced features like bed leveling. And if you have bed leveling, it's actually really cool, because something I didn't think about when I first got my printer is that the bed where it actually prints on has to be perfectly level all the way across in relation to the extruder. So if you print 0.5 millimeter too high or 0.5 millimeter too low, it'll either grind your filament into the print bed and be like a, super, super thin, or if it's too high, it won't stick to the print bed. And so you try and make like a circular object and your filament just pulls up. So you have to get the settings just right. You want the filament to be kind of, when it comes out of the extruder, you want it to be like squishing just a little bit on the print bed. And that's the perfect layer. but that is a difficult thing. This, you can see in the picture, there's little handles on the bottom here, these little circles. You turn those to raise the corners up or down. And I've actually made a file that you can print that prints little, it takes a while to print it because as it's making the print, you adjust it. So it goes around to each corner and makes a little square, and you want to get it till it looks just right. And then you can print your real file without having to worry about it failing to print. The other thing I will show you is Cad Software, and it stands for Computer Aided Design. And before 3D printers, this was used in professional applications a lot, and it was used by engineers to take a set of measurements in real life and make a 3D copy of something, or do it the other way around, make a 3D object and get the measurements and then send it off to a machine shop to be made. The software typically uses like a 3D screen. So you'll have like a 3D representation of your object, and you can use your mouse and you can click on the different little surfaces and shapes and mechanical parts, and you can edit them. You can change properties about them and manipulate the object through the 3D tool. And when you're designing something from scratch, you usually start with a two-dimensional plane, and then you sort of sketch a outline of the beginning of your part. So you'll make like say you have a set of measurements that you've taken in real life. You've taken a set of measurements, and then you sort of sketch out those measurements, and then you will extrude it to turn it into a 3D shape. And then from that, you can do whatever you want to that 3D shape. But the very big first step is usually to sketch something in 2 dimensions and then extrude it out and do what you want with it. So the different models and brands that are available, there are a lot, but I'm going to just kind of show a few. We only have one printer, but I've looked at a few other kinds of printers. I don't have a whole lot of experience. I don't have 80 printers like some people have. So my knowledge is going to be kind of limited, but the brands that seem to be most popular for people like us, what the stuff we would do with it. Creality is a Chinese brand, as you might expect. It's pretty much the Baofeng of 3D printers. People love to hate on Baofengs, but they're actually pretty good radios. Same here with the Creality printer. It cost us, I think at the time it was $230, $250. The price now has dropped to like $150. So, I mean, it's a really, really good deal. And we have the original Ender 3 printer. The one on the left here is the one we have. And people will tell you, like, if you go ask, oh, what's a good beginner printer? They'll all be like, oh, avoid the Ender 3. It's not very good. We've been using this thing for at least 2 years now, and it works fine. It's not the most fancy thing. You do have to level the bed. You do have to get your printing temperatures correct and everything, but it prints files and it prints them just fine. So I have really no complaints for this price range. Baofeng of 3D printers, like what I said. Here's a couple other models from Creality. These are substantially more expensive. The Ender 7 3D, I have a pretty bad picture of it here, but you can kind of see there, it has a little holder on there for the filament. It sends the filament to the print head a little bit differently. It actually moves the head on the 3 axes up in the top of the printer instead of moving the bed, because the bed on our printer moves forward and backward, but this one actually looks like it moves the head. I could be wrong about that, but that's what it looks like to me. Here's the Ender 5 Plus. This is another one. This one's a lot bigger. So there's different sizes, and you can get really, really big ones. You can even build these yourself because they're pretty simple to do. But this one has a much larger print bed. So if you're printing something really big, this is necessary. I've printed something very big, and I actually had to chop it up into 4 different pieces and then print the 4 pieces individually on our printer because the print bed was just not big enough to print it all in one go. So that's something to keep in mind if you plan to be printing really big things. The other thing is speed. Some models of printers are faster than others just because they may have more precise controls, and you may want to use different filament with them that can handle it. It's all a mix. You have to get just the right mix of speed, temperature, fan speed, and ventilation. There's just so many different aspects to getting it right. So some of the more expensive printers can actually go a little bit faster for various reasons, but that's Creality. Another one I've heard a lot about is Ultimaker, and I actually use their software, which we will talk about at the end of this. I have no experience with any of these, although I think this one on the right is pretty cool. It's actually made out of wood. But these are much more expensive models, as you can probably tell. They look like little mini fridges, don't they? But there's an Ultimaker S3. These all have enclosures too. So that helps a lot if you're trying to do ventilation, and it helps keep the temperature inside of there the same. If you like, we're printing out here in our garage, and if it gets really, really cold at night, that could affect the print. It could cause the print to warp or to fail or come off the board. There's a number of, external things that can influence the print. So having an enclosure helps with sound a lot, because these printers they're not silent. So having an enclosure does keep them a little bit quieter and helps the temperature stay stable. But there's the Ultimaker brand for you. These are the only two brands I've really done a lot of research on. If I had more time to make this presentation, I would have had some more in here, but there's just a general idea for you for what you can get. So you get your Creality is on the cheaper side. This is your Yaesu DX 101 of printers. Now we have filament types. This is probably even more important than the actual printer, because if you have bad filament, then you're always getting failed prints. Maybe it's time to change your filament. So the filament I use the most, and what most people are going to end up using, is called PLA. And this is just a general purpose filament. You can see here, there's a little ARL. I know it's our favorite organization ever. Someone printed that out. Here's a 3D printed Morse code key. That's pretty cool. Somebody actually printed a Tesla Cybertruck here too. All these pictures I just kind of found them. So automatic credit goes to whoever took these pictures. But there's just some things you can do with PLA. You can make pretty much everything with PLA. Everything we've done so far here at house has been with PLA. But if you need more complicated projects and you need something that can handle more stress and heat, especially, there's ABS filament. This is probably the second most commonly used filament. It's heat resistant, so it can handle a lot higher temperatures. It doesn't mean you have to print it at higher temperatures. But PLA, for example, if you leave this in a hot car in Florida, it will start to melt. We had like a 3D printed boat, like a toy boat somebody 3D printed, and that thing sat in the sun for like maybe 30 minutes while we were at the pool. And we came back to it, it had visibly melted. So not like in a puddle on the ground, but just it had started to warp, and certain parts of it were deformed. So if you're going to 3D print a car, an automotive accessory, like a phone mount or a radio mount or a mic mount or something, you might want to use ABS, because if you use PLA and it sits in your car and it gets to be 150 degrees in your car in the heat of summer in Florida, yeah, that thing might melt. So keep that in mind. That's why there's different types of filament, because you have different projects. So you can make, they all have different amounts of like brittleness to them. So PLA can, it can flex a certain amount before it will snap and break. Other filaments will bend a lot before breaking, and some will bend none at all, and then they just break immediately. So you have different layers of that as well. But ABS seems to be what you use if you want higher performance over PLA. Then there's PETG. This is more used for food related things. So if you wanted to make like this 3D printed cup here, apparently you would use PETG because it can store liquids. And PLA, you can, you can make a printed cup with PLA and it'll hold water, but it's not really food safe. It's not really, you're not going to die if you drink water out of a 3D printed cup using PLA. But if you want to do it right, you would use PETG to make a cup if you wanted to hold water or coffee or something. It's also UV resistant. That's the other thing. If you 3D print something, like I have my 40 meter inverted V up on top of my tower, it has a 3D printed little isolator in the middle, and the wires come in and they tie into the little connector, and it's a 3D printed object. So I'm kind of waiting to see how long that lasts. One day it may just break because it's been out in the sun and the weather and everything. So far, it looks like it's absolutely fine, but we'll see what happens with that. So PETG is UV resistant. So if you're putting something outdoors and it's going to be in the sun, it's another good thing. Plus, it's water resistant, like I said before. So PETG is kind of the way to go if you want something weatherproof. And there's PP filament, which is chemical resistant. So I'm not really sure what applications this would be useful for, because I don't know what kind of chemicals you'd want to be putting through a 3D printed cup. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're trying to do some 3D print yourself some chemistry equipment, then I guess this would be what you would use. And they apparently it's stronger too. It doesn't break as easily. So there's your kind of little rundown of the different filament types. We've been using PLA, but the different brands are also important. So you can get really, really crappy stuff that like breaks kind of like spaghetti noodles. I've seen a picture of someone with a spool of filament that actually looked like spaghetti noodles because it had just dried out and cracked in the case before anybody even got to use it. So the stuff we like to use is the Esun brand. I believe it's also a Chinese brand, but what isn't these days? This stuff is actually pretty good. I've got a couple spools of it sitting here behind me. You can buy it at Gigaparts. So I usually just walk in there and buy some. And for general purpose printing, this stuff is pretty good. We've had good success with it. Another brand. Oh, and the other thing is a spool of your standard PLA costs about $20 for a full spool. So it's not that expensive. And you get like, I think you get a kilogram and a half per spool. I think it's usually 1 kilogram. It's usually 1 kilogram. Okay. So for a kilogram of filament, $20, 25, 20 is hard to beat. And it's at Gigaparts. So that's easy for us. The other brands that we have used and have had, I mean, I would say 3D Fuel, the stuff on the right here is the stuff I have the least experience with, but it did work. And I did print most of my little thing I'm going to show in a minute over here out of 3D Fuel filament, and it was okay. We just have more experience with the ESA stuff. We've got our settings dialed in more, and it seems to be pretty solid filament. The other stuff, which is apparently more higher quality from what I can tell, is Hatchbox. They sell that on Amazon. It's about $25 a spool, and that stuff is used commonly. There's a couple other brands out there. I'm trying to think. There's another brand that I can't think of the name, but no, I just said Hatchbox. I don't know what it was. It like I don't know. I think it had Maker in the name, but I'm not really sure. So there you go. There's different brands. I'd recommend if you're starting out, get the Esun brand, just because it seems to be pretty good. The next thing we have to talk about is the Cad software. Now, this can be very complicated looking when you start out, and there are some very complicated types of this software where you have to have years of training and experience and be a professional at using the software to actually make use of it. But for what we generally do, it's pretty easy to figure out. So the options you have are, and of course there's, hundreds of options, but the most commonly used ones from what I've seen would be Autodesk Fusion 360. This is not free software. There's a trial and you can kind of get by using it for free. But I do believe they ended their they had like a free version and they kind of ended that recently. There may be something new in its place, but this stuff is pretty good. It's very, very common. If you want information on how to use it, there's thousands of tutorials on how to use this. And for most serious people who do 3D modeling, they use this Autodesk Fusion 360. They also use AutoCAD, which is made by the same people and is very similar to Fusion 360 in terms of how you use it. It's almost identical, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. Next software, and this is a software that I used, is called Design Spark Mechanical. Now, this is not super mainstream, but in terms of how you use it, it's very simple to use. This is about as basic as you can get for this software without going to what we have in a minute. I'll show you. This is very easy to use. It's again, you start out with a 2D sketch, you extrude it, you sketch on the side of that, extrude that. You can cut, you can do, it has all the tools like doing a fillet, or is it called fillet? I think it's fillet, but it's where you round the edges of something. And it has
probably pronounced fillet, I would say.
I would think so, but I almost think it's different because this is not talking about a cut of meat.
Oh.
I feel like I've heard somebody say fillet before, but I don't know. But it has all the standard tools. The only tool it's really lacking in is a solid mirror function, which you use a lot more than you'd think. If you're designing something that you want to be symmetrical on either side, you can set up a mirror, but only when you're doing the two-dimensional sketch. And the mirror will keep working when you go to extrude it the first time. But if you want to, say, design half of something and then wait till the end to mirror it, you cannot do that in this software. There is no copy and duplicate and flip function. So if you want to design half of something, which is what I did with this project I've been doing recently, I designed half of this model because it was easier to measure from the center outward instead of doing from one side to the other. And it was a nightmare to try and get it back into a full file. But other than that, it's really, really good. The last CAD software, which is technically CAD software, but it's really, really good for like ultra beginners, is called Tinkercad. This is completely free and it's a website. So you actually go to just Google Tinkercad and it opens up in your web browser and you can start doing stuff. It doesn't have all the functions like sketching and extruding. And what you can do is you can import, a cube, and then you can make that cube be, however many dimensions you want, and then add another cube and make that however many dimensions. And then you can cut a hole out in the middle. It's pretty basic, but you can design things. You can design things with it if you want to. I've designed a couple things with it. I made a just like a box for putting, I don't know if y'all remember back on the repeater, I used to have that box that would inject Roger beeps into my 8900. I designed the case for that in Tinkercad and then printed it out, and it worked okay. Just a little bit basic. It does have cool functions though, like for electronics. So you can do circuit design in here. Like this is an Arduino, and you can pop in a little LED component, a little battery component. It has all kind of sensors and stuff. And I haven't done it myself, but I believe you can simulate certain things in this. But again, it is more geared towards kids and beginners. So it's not going to get you super far if you want to do serious stuff. The next thing we're going to do is talk about slicer software before I go to my short demonstration of the CAD software. So for this, I actually need to stop sharing my screen and transition over to the software. And here we go. Okay, so this is your bridge between the CAD software we just talked about and the printer itself. So with this, you usually can put in the printer you own. So if I go to manage printers, oh, y'all probably can't see that window. You can manage your printers. It has a whole lot of printers built in, so you can select the printer that you bought from the list, and it'll automatically fill in certain parameters such as the print bed size, which is pretty important. That's pretty much the main thing it fills in. You can also change your nozzle diameter, stuff like that. But the way this works is you get a file. So when you're working in your CAD software, you generally end up with STL files, which are the format, which it's another 3D model format. And you take those files and you pop them into Cura here, and that's where you convert them into the type of file that the printer can accept. So let me just pop in, see if we can do this. Okay, so this thing is absolutely huge, but you can scale it. So I'm going to actually scale this down to 10% its size. That's still way too big to print on the printer, but it'll work for demonstration purposes. So this is what I've been working on the past month or so. This is only half of it though. So if you, I know I said before, you can't mirror it in Design Spark, but you can actually mirror it in here if you really wanted. So what I believe I could do is copy it. Actually, no, drag it in again. You could drag in multiple files into this at once. Now we have two here, and you can oh, hold on, that was the scale. I need to be in the transform tool. Okay. So here we have two copies of our file, but what I can do on the second one here is I believe hit the mirror button, and there we go. And then we just move it a little bit, kind of get it there next to the other one. And now it's more or less a full 3D model. It's not quite synced up there, but I would do it better if I was not in a hurry here. So now we have this, but this is still too big to actually print. So I'm going to scale this. I'm just going to delete this second one here. I'm going to scale this down to like 2% its original size. So then it turns yellow, which means it can print it. And then you have other settings. So right now it's actually in the ground a little bit. That's not good. So say I wanted to print this on my printer. Well, if I print it like this, standing up, then there's going to be the whole interior of this is going to be full of support material. So the printer can't just print into thin air. It can't print this post right here because there's nothing to hold the filament. It'll just fall before it has a chance to cool. That's why it's red. It's you can't print that. So I'd like to print this without having to use a whole bunch of supports, because when you print it, then you have to pull the supports out, which can sometimes be really difficult to do without breaking the model. So I want to minimize support. So I'm actually going to rotate this onto its side here. And then this is going to generate supports only on this surface here, the outside of the model. And that's a lot easier to get out, and it will use a lot less filament than trying to do it the other way around. So now that we have that, I'm going to put it here in the middle of the printer, and I'm going to hit slice. And what this does is it breaks the 3D file up into, it slices it into a whole bunch of layers. So if we hit the preview tab here, this is what it's actually going to do on the printer. And we actually have a function here to preview what that's going to look like. So we can see here, this little like outline it's making, that's going to print it's called a raft. It's going to print it on the bed, and that's going to get the model nicely adhered to the bed, and will keep it from having any, imperfections. If the bed's slightly unlevel, this will kind of compensate for that just a little bit. But say we go like, right about here. So now we can see the first layers starting to be printed. And here's like a little preview of what the extruder is going to be doing. So it starts off doing an outline, goes back the other way, does some details here in the middle. And then now it's just filling in other sections of the model. So it does this all one little line at a time. And it does take a while. Like this small model here takes 2 hours. You can see the preview here. It's going to take 2 hours to print this. And it's going to use up about 13 grams of filament. So that's what it does. Goes along there. It just fills everything in. And then if we just speed this up, there's all the layers that it'll make. So here's the supports. The light blue here is support material. So you can see the model is in red, and then it'll actually print this sort of bridge to give it support. And then you'll have to actually pop that off of the model whenever you're done. And then there's a monitor tab. If your printer's connected over USB, you can see where it's at in the print. You can change the temperature and stuff like that. So this is really your bridge. You save to disk. You can save the file as a G-code file, and then put that on a micro SD card and plug it into the machine, and then on the computer, select the file and print. There's your slicer. But I also want to show just a little bit here me designing something. I'm going to try and keep this quick because I know this is not the most entertaining thing ever. But since Design Spark Mechanical doesn't actually have a Linux version, I'm using a virtual machine for Windows. So you can see we start out here with a blank grid. So I'm actually going to try and make a little holder for a PL259 connector. So I'm going to start out, let's see, we need kind of like a right angle is essentially what we need, with 2 holes in it for screws. So I'm going to take the, click the little square button up here. And I'm also going to hit the plan view button, which is going to make your view synced to the 2-dimensional plane. So we just want something, how wide do we want it? I think we want it probably about 2 millimeters wide, or 3 mil. Actually, we'll do 4 millimeters. So I'm going to start drawing a box here. Not 4 millimeters, sorry, 40 millimeters. We want it to be 4 centimeters, and then we can actually edit this one as well. We're going to make this one 80. So now you can see we have a little square here. It's a little rectangle. And that's about all we need right now. So I'm going to hit this little button here to go back to the 3D view. And now you can see we have this rectangle just floating in space. So now we use the pull tool, also known as the extrude tool. And we're just going to drag it upwards. And I want this to be about, I'll say 5 millimeters thick. Now we have a little box, a little rectangle box. Now let's put the little screw holes in it. So we're going to click the surface of the box we just made. We'll go to plan view again. We'll take the circle tool, and I can actually demonstrate the mirror function here. So if we take our construction line, it's called a construction line, and you right click it and you set as mirror line. So now this will mirror whatever we do on this side, it'll mirror it to this side, or the other way around. So I want a screw hole right about there, but 4 millimeters is a bit thick. So the screw I would use is probably going to be at most about 4 millimeters thick. So just type in 4 on your keyboard, hit enter. And there's 2 holes mirrored perfectly. I'm going to put another set of holes right here, also 4 millimeters. Go back to the plan view, or the, what is that actually called? 3D mode. So you have sketch mode and 3D mode. And sketch mode is where you put the circles in. 3D mode is what we're in now. And then we'll just take our pull and we will just drag it down. And since the mirror function is still here, it actually copied the changes over to the other side. Go ahead and drag that down. So now we have our holes. It's not too hard. Now we need to make the little right angle for the actual mount. So I'm going to click the surface we made again and hit plan view. And I'm going to make just a little rectangle here. We'll do about 10 millimeters thick. That sounds good to me. This thing is going to be a little bit over, kind of too big, but it will be more sturdy that way. So I'm actually going to get rid of this construction line now because it's going to cause us problems if we try and drag this out while we have a mirror going right through the center. So we made our little rectangle here. The line is back. I don't want that. Get out of here. Okay. We'll just drag this out like, I don't know, 50. It's probably enough. These measurements aren't exactly right. I'll probably go in and edit this later once I get some real measurements in. So now we need a hole. I can't decide whether I want to put the base of the PL259 or just the little SMA connector. I think I'll probably go ahead and use the base. So I'm actually going to try and figure out what the dimensions are for a PL259 connector. I believe it's probably going to be about 4 millimeters. Let's see here. 7 millimeters. I was a little bit wrong there. Okay. Yeah, cable input diameter, 7 millimeters. So we're going to go on the top, hit plan view, take our circle right in the middle. I'm going to see, I made this thing way too big, it looks like. But for demonstration purposes, we'll make it look how I kind of want it to look. We have a little circle, pull through. So now I would just take a PL259 case mount and just drop it through the hole, and then I'll screw in the 4 little screws into this with some self-tapping screws. I'm not going to model the actual holes in there, but you could, and it would not be hard. You just literally, oop, that's not what I wanted to do. I need to be up here. Sometimes the view flips around a little bit. It tries to find the center of your design depending on where your camera currently is. But if I wanted to put little circles in, I could just kind of, these are not exact measurements, like I said, but you can put little holes in. So there, that looks like you can mount a PL259 to that, doesn't it? Go ahead and pop these holes out. So yeah, you could take some little M5 screws or whatever and mount a PL259 there. They're not exact at all. If I had my little measuring tape out here and a connector in front of me, I would get much more accurate readings. So we have that. Maybe we want some supports as well. So I'm going to go on the side of it, and I'm just going to draw a line from here to like here. And then we're going to do it again, make the lines parallel, go back. So now we have a little thing sticking out here. And then I'm just going to take the pull and drag it out. We'll do about that much. And then we want it on the other side as well. I'm going to go here, and we're just going to copy the lines we just made. We're going to make them again on this side. This is where a mirror function would come in really handy, but it doesn't have that, unfortunately. So we just got to do this. The other cool thing we have here is this measure tool. So I kind of want to know the dimensions of this, how wide this thing is. Can I do that? I guess it only wants to give me perimeter. Oh, well, we will just repeat the last step that we did. Try and get it about the same. And there we go. That's not exactly the same, is it? It's better. Okay, so now we have a little support here, and we can get rid of these little holes here in the middle. Okay, so there you go. We made that in like 5 minutes. Put your little PL259 in there with your airplane tracker, and then just put little screws through this and screw it to your side of your house or your fence or whatever. And that was not hard at all. So we'll do file, save as, actually not file, save as. We want to do, we'll save it and we'll just call it mount. And then we'll actually export it. So we're going to export, and we're going to say, if I had Ultimaker installed in this virtual machine, then I could just hit this button and it would open up Ultimaker by itself. But I don't, so I'm just going to export it as an STL file, and we'll just call it PL259 mount. And there we go. We're pretty much done in this software. So now, if we head back over to Cura, give it a second to open here. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it when it fully initializes. I may have to stop the screen share and start it again. Yeah, didn't like that. Share screen. Okay, now we will do file, open files. I guess y'all can't see this again. I really wish Zoom could show what was on top other than like only showing you just the currently selected window. So let me go into here, and I actually have a folder I set up that shares between the virtual machine and my full computer. It's nice to have that. All right, PL259 mount. Okay, there it is. Now it's here on the printer, and printing it like this is probably the best way to do it. There will be supports generated underneath the little angles, but it won't take that much. Yeah, this is way too big for an actual mount. But if this were more accurate, we could actually scale it down a little bit. That's better. So yeah, that would take 1 hour and 3 minutes. So the print time on these machines is pretty long. It's not a replicator. You don't get it in 1 second, unfortunately. But there you have it. That's how you design and make something into a physical object that you can hold in your hand from the computer using a 3D printer. And that's pretty much the end of my presentation. Hope they all liked it. If y'all have any questions, let me know. I'm here to answer questions.
All right. Well, and I'm just looks like the Sheriff Chopper just headed back to the barn. I've been sitting here watching it go around and around, and it just literally, as you got finished there, it headed back. Let me see if I
You'll be
can
running
see
out
it.
of fuel.
Yeah, it's been up there a long time. I'm trying to see if I can. Yep, there it just popped up there. You guys, let me put that on the. Hold on, let me get. You guys see that? No. Hold on, let me share screen, and then let me go over here and set this for the single screen.
Wow, you sure went around for a while.
Yeah, he did. But here he's way out here now. He's probably heading home. I don't know though. Buckingham Field's down here. His home base is down here. So he may still be looking around. He did fly up over here around Bayshore Road before he flew over here. So I don't know what's. I checked my sources within the media and also the website sources, and I don't see anything going on. But with the new county system, none of us can hear their scanners anymore. So that's kind of a problem. Anyway, there he's popping in and out because he's getting further away. When he gets under 1,000 feet, I only get him out about 6 or 8 miles, and that's it. All right. So anyway, that's that. I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on that, what was going on. All right. The next thing I want to talk about was, does anybody have any questions for Joseph before we move on? Anything about 3D printing? Anything at all?
Guess I did a good job.
I guess you did. That's all you got. That's all you got to do. All right. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight I've I had a power supply go out on me over the week last Sunday, and I had a 20 ampere, and I had a backup 20 ampere. Well, my backup 20 ampere went out a while back, so I was down to just the one power supply, and it went out on me. And when it went out, it quit working. But when it quit working, one of my cheap radios, my little $10 Alinco that I was so proud of that I got working, it smoked. I got the magic smoke. And so I don't know if the power supply sent out a surge when it failed or what. It was a cheap Chinese, a Teakwang something, Teak Power. I don't know what it was. Anyway, no worries. All my other radios seem to be okay, although not 100% sure because I can't test them at full power. But they all power, and I can broadcast or transmit on them on a low power. Anyway, so I'm going to be putting in a new 12-volt system this weekend. So tomorrow, I'm going to go to the swap shop pretty early on, probably right about the time they open the gate. I'm going to be at the swap shop. Well, Charles isn't there tomorrow, so I'll probably go about 10:30 because I don't
I'd love
know.
to go tomorrow, but my car's in the shop, so I won't be there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go over there for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna run in and buy a power supply, and I'm out because I'm not gonna hang around.
They got a bunch of them in there. I know that.
I know they got shelves full of them, and I'm like, why am I gonna go on Amazon and spend $120 on an Astron power supply or something? Because I want 20 or 30 amps. When I can go to the swap shop and buy one for $40.
Yeah, and they got several of them there.
Yeah. So I'm going to get either a 25 or a 30, or I'll settle for a 20.
I think they got a 35 over there with the meters on it.
Oh, I'll twist my arm.
Yep.
I mean, I'll have 60 or $80 on me. So even if it's a little bit more, I'll buy that better one. I want this to be, I've got a lot of stuff that runs on 12 volt. You don't realize how much stuff you've hooked up until it goes out.
Yeah.
I even got one of my big screens up here. The power supply for that is on that. So I don't have the screen. I've got a backup power supply running my receiver up there. One of the Broadcastify feeds was down. I got it. All those are back up now. So it's been a mess. I've had to kind of redo my whole life here. But
so do you need 12 volts or 13.8?
13.8. I call it 12, but you know what I mean. 13.8.
Well, if you just needed 12, if you're just doing a receiver, don't forget about the ones that are in a computer. They're cheap.
Right.
You know, you can get 12 volts at 50 amps for a $30 supply.
Yeah.
Right, and I actually have several of those spare in my spare parts box. I have, I think, 3 or 4 of those computer power supplies because I do use those from time to time. But no, I want one of the ones that is 13 whatever, and it's I want it regulated. I know the computer ones are regulated too, but I want to get one that's like 30, 35 is great. I want one that I can just power everything off of, and then what I'm thinking about doing is buying an automotive fuse panel. They make one that takes the larger blade fuses, which I like, and it takes the blades going in the sides, and then the blade fuses go in the front. And huh? See, that's my wife telling me I can't buy it if it's a radio. Anyway, she loves to kid around me. She goes, "No, you can't have it." But it's basically an automotive fuse panel, and you know the wires go in the side. It's positive. Your big lug is at the top where your positive feed goes in. That I think I'm going to buy one of those, and I'm going to mount it up underneath the console here, and I'm going to wire everything into its own fuse so that I got everything fused separately because I just got too much stuff all wired together right now.
I think you can get those at Walmart at the automotive stereo department. That's where I got some for mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting because I can check that. Let me see if I can find the one I was looking at here.
Yeah, when I wired my car up, I ran. I had PowerWorks make me a 6-gauge cable.
This is kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I actually like that one right there. It's got the screw lugs. I like that even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one would work. Any of these would work. These are pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, you guys. But yeah, I could get any of these. This is probably what I'm going to end up with, something like that. And you got your.
Go on Walmart's website. Check out in their auto stereo department.
They got one with that many feeds.
I don't know if they have that many, but I think you could get stuff like that in there.
Because this one actually has this one actually has the lights to let you know which one's out or whatever. See how it's got the lights built in?
Yeah.
And these are all your negative, and these are all positive. Positive goes here, your negative goes there. That powers all those. That powers all those. This is the one I'm looking at. I mean, this is pretty much what I'm looking at. And I'm just going to mount that up underneath the console here and just wire everything into it as neat as I can.
So my question is, when you loosen the screw to put the wire going to your radio, do you have to put a spade lug on that thing, or does that little metal plate compress when you tighten the screw?
No, it could, well, on this one, you can buy it either way. The one you can buy the one that has the blades, and you can just put the blade, the blade thing on there. But this particular one here, you would get like the horseshoe and put the horseshoe underneath the screw and tighten it down. It's got like a little, like you said, a plate on there, and you put it between the plate and the bottom. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, something like that. There's a mini version, but I'm way past that. That's pretty cool.
Is that man enough to carry like 20 amps for a 100-watt transmitter?
Yeah. I mean, I believe so. Let's.
It doesn't look man enough to me.
It doesn't show 30 amp fuses in it, but it shows 20s and 25s.
Yeah, okay then.
25 should be adequate. Thing on your radio.
Yeah, those are 5s, 10s, 15, or 5s, 10s, 15s, and 20s right there is what it's showing. But wouldn't 20 amp hold a 100-watt radio?
Yeah, 20 amp will run 100 watts, but if you're running, like a 100-watt or a couple of radios, I mean, not going to use them all at the same time.
Most watt radios want 23 amps.
Yeah.
Okay, so I pop a 25 amp fuse in that one spot, and I only transmit on one radio at a time. And the second thing is if I put a 25 amp fuse in it, it should be all right. I guess I'm assuming, but
yeah, you want each radio to have its own circuit.
Each radio, everything will have its own circuit. Yeah, absolutely. Each radio will have its own circuit. But I got to read it, man. I mean, it may tell you, look, 30 amps per fuse.
Yeah.
Okay, the block is capable of 100 amps. Okay.
Yeah, so I think, if you can believe this, I think we're good.
Yeah, even if that's Chinese amps, you're still good.
Yeah, oh yeah, because that would convert to 23 American amps.
Yeah.
And 100 amps would convert to 79.3.
Sick.
Yeah. I'm not good on my Chinese conversion. It changes every day, the conversion scale. But anyway, so that's what I was thinking. I just kind of wanted to get you guys' input on that. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to put that up underneath the console on the back wall so that I can work on it fairly easy. So I don't have to work upside down. But I'm going to put it on the back wall up underneath the console, and I'm going to drill some more holes so all the wires can just go right down and right into that. And that's the plan. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to go ahead and order it tomorrow and have it shipped. I just wanted to see if you guys had any other ideas or had thought.
Significantly cheaper than a power pole, that's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. I love the power pole. I would get those 100%. Okay, but as you guys know, I'm working in budget, and this literally gets me organized and fused for $20. It's kind of hard to go wrong. I eventually will.
200.
It would be expensive. They're very expensive, and they're worth it. I'm not saying they're not. It's great systems, but I have to go with the Chinese equivalent here. But yeah, I'm pretty good with this, though. I think this will be a good one, a good idea here.
Should work, yeah. I got all power poles here and several DC supplies. So
maybe
because
back in just a minute.
Because here's what I want to do, and I need to figure out how to do this. I need a charging circuit or something. but I eventually want to be able to hook a couple of deep cycle batteries to this. And again, I'm in budget. You guys buy all those fancy gel batteries and super nano Captain Kirk batteries. I can't afford all that. So what I'm going to do, I can get deep cycle marine batteries for 60, 70 bucks. So I eventually want to just get it.
Get at the marina.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mean, on the 5-finger discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The owner's not looking.
Yeah, I try not to do too much of that. But anyway, yeah, I'm wanting to get. I'm thinking of if I put 2 deep cycle batteries in here, what my dad used to call electric kicker batteries. If I put 2 of those in here, I should be able to run all my radios and stuff for a while. And but that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. And I want to hook that up. That will eventually power this, but I'll have to figure out how to do all that because I think I'm going to have to buy a circuit or something. I've got to figure out what I got to get so that it'll use. Basically, I want the radios to run off the batteries, and then I want a system to charge the batteries while they're being used. So, I'm basically making a UPS.
Yeah.
And so I just need to figure out all I got to do that. And I haven't researched it yet, so I'm that's kind of where I'm at with that. I just didn't know if anybody had anything they wanted to impart on that. Has anybody done anything like that yet?
Yeah, but I gotta find what I'm looking for. Then I'll share it.
Okay. But anyway, that's what I'm looking for, man. I got to tell you, it's really cool to me to be able to hook up all my wires, all my grounds, all my hots, all to the same box and have all that all done. And then I'm thinking about eventually buying a little switch panel that has 4 or 5 6 little 12-volt switches, kind of like what you'd see on a police car, just have little switches so that I can turn my fans and my lights and stuff on and off that are also running off that same 12-volt system. I mean, eventually I'll be able to run my shack off my batteries. And even if the power goes out, all my laptop here will run for 6 hours on the battery. And I've got battery backups on just about everything else. That's all the other computers are on battery backups. My security system's on battery backups, its own battery backup. Then if I can get all the radios on this battery backup, then I can. And then I'm actually in the process of moving my generators so it's easier to get going. I'm trying to get this thing ready for hurricane season and for storm watch season and all that kind of stuff. But I've been down this week. It sucks. I haven't used HF since Sunday of last week. It took a whole week without HF. I'm starting to get the shakes at night. It's pretty bad.
HF withdrawal.
HF withdrawal. All right.
So let me show you what I've used for battery backup.
Okay.
And so let me share my screen here.
Okay.
All right. Where is it shared? Boom. I got to pick the one I want to share. That one. Boop. Okay. All right. So Samlex, they make power supplies. They make this thing here. It's about $70 overpriced. But it's for those folks who are putting radios in a hospital, and the hospital doesn't want Dallas to make it. Okay, but you click on that puppy, and then you get to the crux of it. It's 2 resistors and 2 diodes on a heat sink. It doesn't take much of a heat sink. It tells you right there the part number for the Schottky diode. It tells you that the resistor is a 1.2 ohm, 25 watt resistor. You know what would work for that? A brake light for your car.
Yeah.
So when it's got a lot of current going through there, it'll light up pretty bright. But as the battery gets charged, the light will go lower and lower and lower and lower till it just might be slightly glowing.
Ah.
Yeah, because you don't want too much inrush current to boil all the water off your battery.
Right.
It'll get hot though.
The light bulb will get hot. Okay, who cares? There's that resistor, a 25-watt resistor is going to get pretty hot too. Have you ever touched a 4-watt soldering iron? It melts solder.
But you can get those wire around in the metal caps and whatever, that would be unscrewed to a heat sink.
Yes.
And it will be more constant. The trouble is with, like you say, a light bulb, the bright or the dimmer it gets, the higher the resistance is going to be. It's not going to be a constant resistance, is it?
Right. No, it's not. But we're talking budget here. Brake lights are, they're cheap.
That's true.
That 1.2 ohm 25-watt resistor, you buy that later, and then you put it in that circuit.
Yeah, I'm just not sure it's going to. Yeah, I guess the brake lights will work.
It'll work for a while. It'll get there. But the trick is to get that the Schottky diode, and it's right there. So you just got to look up for one of these Samlex battery backup jobby doobies, and they make 2 different types. So you pick the one that you want, and these guys here, I think they're rated at like 30 amps. But it's dirt simple circuit.
Yeah, it is. Almost simple enough. I think I could build it myself.
Yeah, and all right. So
and I'm kidding because I don't solder. I mean, my hands shake. I can't solder.
Well, these aren't surface mount components. These are big.
Right.
Neat. Anywho.
Oh, you can get those Schottky diodes in a 10-pack off of Amazon. Oh, am I talking or not? Yeah, off of Amazon for $7.99 for 10.
Wow.
You can get 250. Okay, now
Okay,
so
that might be a few too many.
So $7.99 for 10. That makes you 5 of these things because you need 2. So that's a lot of.
Yeah, I'm just looking though. That gives you 10 and the 15 amps and 10 and the 20 amps, and we want the 32 amps. So hang on a second. It's not giving me the right figures here. Oh, there we go. Okay, you can get, what are those? 32 amps? 32 amps. Okay, hang on. I can get 15 and 20 amps. I can't get 32 amps.
Well, you can get them from DigiKey or Mauser, or they're out there.
Okay, well you can get,
I can't cut and paste that number.
No, I just typed it in.
Yeah, my memory's not that good. Q.
Let's see, 32CTQ030.
Yeah, there's 32 amps. There's lots. I can see lots of 20s. Well, you could parallel up 2 20s, parallel them up. That would give you 40. It still works.
OnChips.com, and then we put in that 32 CT Q 030. Oh my gosh, it can't be that cheap.
I was thinking, but look at the first number.
They're $1.58 for about 50 of them, but that's a little bit much. You don't want to have to buy 50 of something.
20.
There's somebody
I can't find any that are above 20 amps. Most of them are 15 amps. 15 amp, 15
Okay,
amp.
but like you say, you can just run 2 of them in parallel, right?
Yeah, you could.
I mean,
that would double your amperage and maintain your same.
Well, I'm always of the thought on stuff like this to overbuild it rather than underbuild it.
Oh, something like this you would have.
Well, Schottky diodes are just like, they're like a cascading diode, like the Zenodiode. Well, not quite, but yeah, they got 15 amp ones. So if you just double them up, and that would give you 24 amps, 12 amp ones there. They're 45 volts and up to in all sorts of stages.
Why does it show 2 times 15? It's not. Oh, because there's 2 diodes in each one.
Yeah, but they're going in different directions, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes.
So you would parallel both of those up, because it looks like we can only buy. All right, you've got the 32s there. Oh, wow. That's in a different package, though. It's in a 3-leg package, but that won't matter.
Yeah.
You can get them in a 2-leg. There's a 2-leg.
Then they got all these guys over here on the side. But yeah, you know, I just thought it was, I really like it when a manufacturer tells you what's in it. They don't tell you where to buy all the parts, but they tell you this part number, this is the resistor. They don't give you the part number for the resistor. You got to do a little bit of work on your own.
How many watts was the resistor? 25, wasn't it?
25 watts, 1.2 ohms.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. They're like $3.
Yeah.
321.
So, we're, the hardest part is the heat sink. You got to go find yourself a 1/4-inch thick piece of aluminum that's
Well, believe it or not, heat
3
sinks
by
aren't a
5.
problem. I've been collecting heat sinks. I've got about 7 or 8 of them here. I've got one that's huge.
There you go.
It's huge, Caroline, huge.
So is it big enough to have a zip code or an area code?
It's just a zip code, but it's still pretty big. I don't know what I did with it. It's over here somewhere.
You can buy the ones for
There's probably more.
regular computer kit.
I got a bunch of them. Got a bunch of smaller ones too.
In fact, I know there's a bunch of them over at the swap shop. They got more parts over there.
Yeah, well, that's where I got a bunch of them, was over there. Yeah, see here, I got some smaller ones here. But, there's my 2 SDR sharps in there. I even got a few that have heat sinks that already have the fans built into them too. I got a bunch of these different things. And I get them out of computers. I also buy them at the swap shop. I go digging around. They're over behind the door.
I'm reading this since this Shockey is 2 times 15. That's 30 amps. It apparently you can. I don't see how you can run 30 amps through that little itty bitty lead right there.
Not 30 amp, it's 15.
But it's 15 out on each side. Each
It's
anode.
2 times 15 amp. Oh yeah. No, it's 2 times 15. Yeah, you're right.
Which means at least one lead's going to have the full load.
Yes, which means the and I see what it is. The metal
Full
lug.
load has got bolts for
Oh.
The lug is the metal lug is that ties to the chassis ground. That you got to insulate that from the heat sink.
the heat.
But yeah.
So this is it'll be a little nylon spacer in there probably.
Well, you have to be something that will conduct heat.
Yes, you'll need Mylar, something that will conduct the heat and not burn up.
And is that maximum? I'm not sure that's going to be super reliable.
Oh, my back hurts.
But depending, there's 2 of them, but one of them is for charging, and the other one is when you're operating the radio.
Yeah, you're not using both at once.
Right, you're using one for when you're charging, and using one for when you're operating the radio. So your 23 amp peak transmit. You got a 30 amp device in its circuit.
Yeah.
You might want a little bit more overkill, but you know, it's
So that you would use on the positive side of your battery.
yes. Go back to the
So yeah,
schematic. Positive input, you know.
yeah,
You know,
just the
But
negative side.
my Navy taught me that when the study of electron is that you study the electrons, so you follow the electrons, and electrons go from negative to positive. They go around there through your load, depending on if you want to go back to the battery to get to your positive side.
No, because the diode will only conduct in the one direction.
Right. So those electrons leave here. Am I on the screen?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
negative. That's
So they
negative.
come through, go through the load, and come back on your positive lead, go through the diode, back to your positive terminal from your power supply. When you're charging the battery, it would have gone, I guess your load and your battery are all tied together. Them electrons would come back this way.
Yeah, now the battery.
And go through either one of those two to get back to here. So yeah,
D2 is got the. I'm not quite sure why it's got. Those two resistors are in parallel, so it's only 0.6 of an ohm. It's not 1.2 ohms. It's two resistors.
Well,
at
that's
1.2 ohms, but it's only 0.6 of an ohm.
So that would be
loaded across the diode.
0.6 ohms. Actually, you would have the 50 watts of
yeah,
capacity.
50 watts
Yeah.
worth of, but you know, a 50 watt resistor is going to cost you more than two 25s.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, all that heat's in one spot. You get to put them an inch or two apart, so your heat sink is not getting too hot in one spot.
It's relatively inefficient because that's drawing quite a lot of current that you could be using for charging the battery. I think you could do that better.
You could if you had a what's the word for it? A FET.
Yeah, an FET.
Yeah, you could do.
Or you could do it with switching relays, so that you weren't. You'd have to have a sensing system, but
you could go the whole route of a power supply that would chop that.
yeah,
Power up a relay, and then when the power supply goes off, the relay releases and it switches to the other side to your battery.
yeah. That system.
No, this is instantaneous. As soon as you lose power, the current flows through the diode.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But there's nothing to maintain. It's going to be doing a bit of both. It's going to be taking from the battery because it's not, well, it's kind of directed towards the battery. See,
well, no, you've got this here's like your power supply coming in.
Yeah, your power supply is coming in.
This is your floating power batteries that you're going to charge. There's two marine batteries sitting out here.
Yeah, well, the path is actually from your input positive through the diode and then through the two resistors and then up to the battery positive. That's the charge path.
Right.
And then what happens is when the voltage builds up on the battery positive, it's still going to be flowing through there, but through those two resistors.
But it's that once that battery is charged, that becomes a trickle.
Not really. I mean, it's you're going to have equal volts. You got you're still going to have 0.6 of a volt drop across that D2. So your load is going to go input through D1 and then straight out the bottom to the positive load, but it's also going to go through the resistors. It won't go through the diode because it's open. It will go through the 2 resistors to the battery positive. Now, when it builds up the battery positive, on one side of those resistors, it's never going to be less than 0.6 of a volt, less than it is on the where the 2 diodes are joined together. So it's never going to be switched off, but
No.
it's going to be minimum.
Right.
It's kind of dirty,
But it's dirt simple.
It works. It's simple, yeah.
It's
but
dirt.
But the other
simple.
thing is, it's going to take. If it's just sat there and everything's switched off, if it's sat there, just everything's switched off, it's still actually going to be drawing current.
What do you mean when it's switched off? It's control current.
Well, if you've got, well, I guess not. If you're.
If the power supply over here fails, you've lost 120 volts.
Oh yeah, no. If it fails, it will come back in through the battery for sure.
Then the power from the battery comes through the diodes to your radio.
Yeah, D2. The battery will supply the volts through D2 because the volts through D1 doesn't exist. Right. So it will be able to conduct. You see, where the 2 diodes are together, if the voltage there is higher than the voltage coming into D2, it will never conduct. It'll only conduct when it's 0.6 of a volt less. So yeah, it's just, but it will a little bit because of those 2 resistors. It's kind of a little, and it's
the resistors are only in the circuit when you're charging the battery.
No, they're in the circuit all the time because the positive is coming in through D1, through the resistors and into the battery. They're always in circuit with the battery.
Hey guys, I'm going to just mention a couple things, and then I'm going to take my leave and leave you guys to it. I'm hurting right now. My back is killing me. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm going to head to bed. 6 hours of broadcasting is enough for me. Or well, not 5 hours anyway. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things real quick, and then I'm going to let you guys go for the night. But real quick, and then I'll give it back to you so you can screen share. I just want to show you, I don't know how much gas that thing holds, but that chopper is still flying around in circles out in Fort Myers Shores. Look at that. Yeah. That's not a plate of spaghetti.
No wonder our taxes are going up.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they've spent about $1,000 already keeping that thing up in the air. So,
well, so when it went all the way over to the east, and then came back, is there a place where it could have refueled right there?
Yes,
I don't think so. Only because it actually fuels right here.
Yeah.
Well, that might be home.
Maybe he set it down to go take a whiz or something and went back. I don't know.
Sandwich. Is there a McDonald's?
Well, it's all yellow.
Dunkin' Donuts there?
All along. See how that's yellow?
That's his fuel place right here. So yeah, I don't know.
Buckingham there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to show you guys that. And
he's got a better fuel tank than the Coast Guard helicopter that we used to have to get from Savannah. I never did quite understand that the Coast Guard station in Savannah, Georgia, had a helicopter, but if they needed the helicopter in Charleston, the helicopter could leave Savannah, get to Charleston. They could spend about 15 minutes searching for somebody, and then it had to abort and go fuel at the airport.
It's hardly worth it.
It's like
Charleston and Savannah aren't that far apart.
The Charleston Air Force Base, they could land there and refuel, and it could go back out, for an hour. But it was, it's like, dang, they should have carried more fuel than that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And a lot of times they won't carry a full tank because they're trying to conserve, the amount of weight they're carrying. Anyway, I just wanted to mention a couple things before I go. And I do need to go. But anyway, let me just show you this, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you guys to finish your discussion, because I'm going to be doing something like that here. But anyway, I wanted to just show you guys something. The solar cycle is off to a booming start. This red line is the official forecast, or what NOAA actually thought the sun would be doing right now. The black line is the actual number of sunspots. And then, of course, this blue line is the running, our running average right now, which the running average right now is going to be around right here. I mean, it's look at this. It's going to come right up. So I just want to bring this up because it looks like this could be a stronger than normal solar cycle. But it also looks like it could be an earlier than normal solar cycle. So I just thought that was really cool, and that's going to be good for us. And the other thing was this neat picture that was taken on the sun of these solar filaments. I love the study of the sun. It's just an amazing thing. And I would love, if I had a lot of money, I probably would own a solar telescope. Space weather observations. This is from this morning. The solar flux right now is down to 109, so it's still continuing to come down. And the K index is actually, let's see here. Where were we at here? I'm trying to see.
And a little.
Yeah, your K index is right here. So it's, we're basically, it's down to 2 now. It was 2 this morning. So it's about the same as it was this morning. This is a new site that I'm using. I think I might switch to this one. It's a little cleaner, a little nicer, and it takes up the full page with all the data. So I kind of like that. Anyway, okay. There's not much going on. It's going to be a little windy tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I not quite windy enough for an aluminum alert. So I just wanted to put that out there.
That's good.
And yeah, you guys know all about this kind of stuff. Let's see here. There's a lot of good stuff in the newsletter this week. I'm not going to go through everything, but it is Swap Shop tomorrow. I want to remind you, Swap Shop tomorrow. And also this weekend is the Tark Fest in Tampa. That's where Charles is going to be.
Yeah.
And several other folks are going to be up there. And also amateur radio license. There's been a clarification that $35 fee will not apply to you if you're doing an upgrade.
Yeah.
So I thought that I had misunderstood that myself when I went through everything.
Administrative fee, like you're changing your address or something like
Right.
that.
Exactly. It won't apply if you're changing anything on your license, but it will apply to your first license, and it will apply to vanity license, vanity call signs. Okay. So I thought I'd mention that. World Radio Day, World Ham Radio Day is coming up April 19th, April 20th. Summit's on the air, and all this stuff is on there if you guys want to read it. But just thought I'd put this out there for you. This one's pretty cool. This guy does CW, but he does it with musical instruments.
Oh, his guitar. Okay.
And I thought that was kind of cool. And he actually has videos. It's just something different, dude. I always looking for something kind of different. But anyway, and my story, one of my things, did you know this week, I talked about the microwave bands. It's more than just cooking food. But anyway, so check out the microwave bands. All that stuff's in this week's newsletter. But the main thing I wanted to bring up was, man, it is a busy contest week.
Yeah.
There is so much going on this week that I barely had room for all of it on here.
Georgia
I actually left off about 5 other contests. So if you go to your newsletter and scroll down, you'll see there's a link right here to get to the page that has all of them on it. But there's a bunch of them. There's the Nebraska QSO Party, the New Mexico, the Texas, the Georgia, the North Dakota, all having QSO parties this weekend. Plus, there is the Texas State Park. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't a Texas QSO. It's a Texas State Park on the Air event this weekend as well. And then you've also got the FTN DX contest which is FT8, folks. That's an FT8 one if you're interested in that. And then you've also got a single sideband up here. So there's a lot going on. And then finally, if you're in Noridian, there's one of those coming on this weekend as well. So I just wanted to bring that up. There was a lot. I was going to go into it a little bit more, but we ran out of time. But I just want to make sure you guys know there is a lot going on this weekend. And a lot of it is state QSO parties on single sideband, which is a great way to fill your log with something other than FT8 contacts. And there you go. I said it. All right. Does anybody have any questions about any of that kind of stuff? The newsletter is in your box if you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, yeah.
And all that good stuff is right in there. By the way, I did the off-centered Fed Dipole. I know that several of you guys have those. I think Rick has one. I know several of you guys have those. Yeah.
But it's a good antenna. How you like it? Or did you build one?
No, I haven't built one yet. I haven't built it, but I got the plans on here for 2 different versions. And I just got it on there. I probably will eventually build one, but I'm not doing anything till I get that hex up. I can tell you that. That hex is definitely the next thing I want to get up there. All right. So anyway, that's what I got there. Let me get out of that. All right. You guys continue what you were doing. I'm going to make Joseph the host. I guess he'll come back. I don't know where he's at. But I've already made Rick and also Dave. I've made both you guys co-hosts as well. So it'll keep the meeting open. And but I'm gonna bow out, guys. I'm done for tonight. I did my 2 hours. I gotta go. I'm hurting. I've had prolonged back issues now. This all happened when I was at my cabin in October, and I fell, and I screwed my back up. And what is this? April?
Yep.
All right. I can't say anything else without swearing, so I'm gonna leave it there. But I'm still dealing with this damn back, and it's all stemming from it. And I'll tell you guys about it sometime if you want. But in 1992, I was involved in a fire, an explosion, and a mess, and I screwed my back all up. And anyway, I'll tell you guys all about it sometime. But anyway, for tonight, I'm out. But everybody have a great night out there. Like I said, I'm going to make Joseph the host, and you guys are the co-hosts and all that. And have fun with it, and I'll see you guys next. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm out for 2 weeks. That's the other thing. I meant to mention this at the beginning. I'm out. I'm out the next couple of weeks. I'll be popping in, but I won't be hosting. I'm going to go to Baltimore. We'll be on the road to Baltimore next Friday night. I'll pop in from the road, say hi to you guys. And then, but Joseph will be hosting, and same as always, you guys bring your topics and let's do them just like we're doing tonight. But the following week, I'll be at my cabin in Georgia. Again, I should be able to come in and hang out and be a part of it for a while. We'll see how the internet connection is, but Joseph will be the commander in chief those 2 nights. And then I'll be back after that. The WatchNet. This coming week, I will be doing a WatchNet. The following week, we're just not going to have a WatchNet unless somebody wants to do it. Let me know. Yeah. But that's just, nobody came this last week, so I don't think it's going to be that big a deal.
Yeah. Sorry about that last night. Usually I'd have been on it, but I got involved with a Zoom call from the Atlanta Radio Club. An old friend of mine was giving a talk on stealth antennas. He did it all the way from Arizona.
Well, and there was that. There was several other people that were busy, and also we had someone trying to get in, but I couldn't hear him. It was just squelch breaking the repeater, and so it's no big deal. I actually wasn't as discouraged as I thought I should have been. So it is what it is. Look, the website's paid for now. The hits are starting to roll in. This thing's gonna start to grow. We're gonna get some more people in here and some fresh blood and some more points of view on this stuff. So it's going to be good. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go to it. Joseph will be back. You guys got it. And I'm going to be out of here. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. And I'll see you next week, although I'll be popping in on the road. But have a good night.
Tell them at the swap shop that my car's in the shop, so I can't get there.
Yeah, I'll tell them your car's in another shop, not the swap shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And there'll be a lot of people not there tomorrow because there's a lot of things going on around. So, but it'll be cool. I'm just going to buy a power supply. I'm going to fly in and fly out. Joseph, I'm making you host, and I got to go. My back's killing me.
Just make sure you hear.
Hey, Joseph. These guys need to talk some more about the circuits they're building and stuff. But I'm going to let you, if you can, just kind of keep things going. I got to go.
All righty.
And if you need to go, just make Rick or somebody else the host. But I got to get going.
Okay. Sounds
All right.
good.
All right. You guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All righty.
Third time. He's out of here. Okay.
And now we can.
He's gone.
So let me share my screen again, and I'll get off this bandwagon with this circuit, and then we'll be done with it. Okay. So you got this battery that has been charged, and this power supply over here, it's gone poof. It's either lost 120 volts or it died. So the current leaves this battery out of the negative terminal, goes to your load, goes to your radio, comes out this way, goes through this diode back to your positive terminal of the battery. Those two resistors are there, but they're not used. They're out of the circuit when you're running on your battery. These are only used for that surge when you first turn on this power supply and this battery is dead low, and you need, you don't want this sucker to crowbar your power supply. So you don't want it to load it so much that it just gives up.
Yeah, you also don't want your battery charging at an infinite rate either. So.
Well, right. You want to limit that current. So, if you had like 20 amps going through the sucker, these guys are going to drop about 12 watts worth of heat. A big battery like that most probably can take 20 amps, but it won't need 20 amps for very long. It'll bounce back. Now, can you flip the switch and try to charge the battery and operate a 23 amp HF rig? Maybe not. You might have to wait a little while. But
you can always reduce the power and work at low power too.
Or just say, I'm going to get on the air in a few minutes. I've ran my battery hard and heavy. Turn it on and let it charge it. It won't take. It's kind of like when you leave your headlights on in your car. You can try and try to get the thing to crank, or you can just let the other car run for a few minutes and charge your battery, and then you crank it and it works.
And a lot of our power interruptions here, at least with Florida Power and Glitch, where the power goes off and then it comes back on, just a second or so.
Right. But then there are the times where you get it's gone for hours,
Yeah, that's a different thing.
But anyhow, so there's my training on Basic Electronics 101.
Cool.
So, and that schematic is everywhere. You just gotta look for the stuff. So I'm done, and I'm out of here. It's past my bedtime.
All right. Alex, I guess I will talk to you later then.
All right, so I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Okay.
As soon as I figure out how to hit the goodbye button. There you are.
Okay. He has disappeared. He has beamed out.
Yeah. I don't know where. I was going to talk about my idea about the verticals, but I think it might be more interesting to Joseph, but he's disappeared for a moment.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I figured he would be back, but oh well. Your idea for the verticals. What you working on, a stealth antenna or what?
Oh, no, for the attic.
Oh, for the attic. Yeah.
So basically I put 4, verticals,
that's
just
right.
like you'd have on your car. But, I'll have a more of a thing, but I'll wire all the grounds together. I have 2 different levels, 2 different boards,
Yeah.
which will, the bottom one will be the ground, the top one will be the feeds for the 4 antennas. And as I say, they're just cutting boards, the white plastic cutting boards from the dollar store.
Yeah.
And then the bottom one will have a hole in it, so as it goes up to the top one, so you can put it onto a mast. So maybe get it 8-10 feet or so above the ground. It's kind of universal. So, you could use it for PODA, get 4 bands, because a lot of people screw their buddy poles, onto the mag mount on the top of the roof, and not buddy pole, they're hex beam, golly, I got my head mixed up now. In the, for the ham stick, and they use it for the, 40 meters or whatever.
Yeah.
So Joseph, I'm working on an idea which will be perfect for your 3D printer, but I'm using cutting boards from the dollar store, and I'm thinking of making 4 ham sticks together on a, 2 pieces of, as I say, 2 pieces of the cutting board. So I'll have 4 different bands. They'll all feed to the single coax. And then the bottom, so it'll be two apart like that. And then the bottom one will be the ground plane. That will feed to 4 different outlets on power poles. And each of those will have 4 wires going out as a radial or ground plane. So I've done it with 2, and it seems to work quite happily if you get them about 5-6 inches apart. So I'm going to make it with 4.
Give me a second. There's something weird going on.
Don't know what's going on. Hope he doesn't have an unexpected guest.
All right. That was annoying.
I was thinking it might be something good. I'm making it for the attic, but it could quite easily be used portable for PODA, or someone like you with a restricted garden at the moment. You could have 4 verticals. The reason I've gone to it is I've got one of those Hustler 5-band verticals, which I put outside, but I have to put it all up, then I have to take it all down. But I've noticed, especially when the sunspots go up, that the DX on a vertical antenna is better than the horizontal in my restricted thing. So, maybe we can talk about that next week if I get a bit further on down the line with it, and I've got something to seriously show you.
Remember
All right.
they used to have an antenna called an Outbacker. I
got one of those. Yeah.
Oh, you got one of those, huh? Yeah. And that's got the little thing where you plug up all, for different bands. I'm thinking that maybe you could use that. He's going to go get it.
You went to go get something?
I think he went to go get the antenna that I was telling him about.
Okay.
So,
If you can see that.
oh yeah, an Outbacker. Yeah.
So you unplugged it. Well, it's got a ground wire wrapped on it, but you unplug that and you plug it into, 70 meters, 31, 20, all the way up to 2 meters. They work quite well, but they're See, if I had that up in the attic, I got to go
You
up
have
there
to
every
run
time.
up to the attic and change that every
Exactly.
time.
So
Yeah,
that's
that
why I'm
would-
thinking of working on the 4. And also it's got a kind of strange, well, it is the standard mount, but it's a bit big. But yeah, I bought some, and then the stinger is in the top. You
Yeah,
can adjust the stinger. This one's got a double stinger on it. So I can't get the second one out. I bought it with a load of stuff that
that used to
estate
be a
sale.
very popular antenna
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
80s and 90s. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's an old one. There was another one as well, a double length one. I think that was called the.
Not only that, they're tough. You could beat somebody up with that thing.
Yes, definitely. It's a solid piece of kit. You could certainly give them a clout around the ear with that, and that would. And it goes up to 2 meters, so
Yeah.
it gives you everything from 75 up to 2 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's got a very short ground plane that goes on it, but it's designed to go on the top of a car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I bought a load of stuff at a
I guess they
estate
don't
sale.
make those anymore, or I haven't seen any in a long time.
I don't know if they do. I think someone makes something similar. So, but as I say, we're going to give this a go because it seems like the vertical. I mean, this week has been, it's been like last week for me. I mean, I'll just dig up my logbook again. I mean, I'm now up to 46 countries. I was only 43, I think, when I talked to you last week, a total. And I've got Lebanon, I know I've added. But, 10 meters has been wrong way.
A couple of weeks ago, 10 meters was open meet into South America.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah, I got a ton of 10 meters into, my 10 meters from yesterday was Canary Islands, Spain, Netherlands,
yeah,
Madeira, Qatar,
yeah.
Greece, Canary Islands again, Slovenia, US Virgin Islands. I've been banging them in. It's been quite good. 10 meters was all SSB as well. So I kind of default during the day to, and Trinidad and Tobago. I've been defaulting
Yeah,
to
I'm thinking about Trinidad a couple of weeks ago.
FT8 mostly, but I can do. And the other thing is, I had to go at this FT8 off on a Thursday night. So if you're running FT8, there's this sprint. It only lasts an hour. Really simple rules. There's only 3 5 watts, 20 watts, and 100 watt, or something like that. And you get 2 points, I think, or 3 points for DX, 1 point for the US, and just work as much as you can in an hour.
Yeah.
It's quite good. If you YouTube FT8 off, FT8 OFF, it will give you the rules and stuff. It's quite good fun. So I did that Thursday. I didn't do as well as I did the week before. I came 30th.
CQWPX sideband contest?
No, I don't do. I'm still which one?
CQWPX sideband contest. CQ Worldwide WPX SSB contest.
No, that was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, I missed that one.
I got a bunch of stuff in South America, all over in Europe, using the hex beam. It was pretty good.
Yeah. No, I missed that one last couple of weeks ago. But let's see if I can get some projects done. As I say, the other thing I've been doing is working with the fox hunting. And I'm just going to see if I can get that down small enough so as it'll work in a parking lot. Not quite sure how I'm going to achieve that, but we'll see. You can go a long way on 15 milliwatts. I'm kind of stunned how far 15 milliwatts will go. It's FM on 2 meters. It really is quite quite amazing. So I might buy some attenuators, and I might buy a unit that fits onto a, because our club seems to be quite interested. We had six pairs of people, 6 teams at 5 o'clock last night, Wednesday night. So, you know, that's dinner time for most people. So that was kind of good to get that many.
Look at me at that hour, huh?
Yeah. So I'm still working on my 77s antenna. I've got it finished now. I've got the SWR good. I just got to get it up in the attic and pointing up towards the repeater that's near Ian, and I might be able to log on to the net on a Thursday night. So that I'll
Doing what I'm doing. I can't stop
Oh.
yelling.
that helicopter that was on, it does uses 75 gallons an hour.
Wow.
That's the same one. I
That's
put that one
probably
in.
I don't know what it uses for fuel. It's some type of aeronautical fuel, and that
Yeah.
stuff is expensive.
So I'm guessing it's probably got like a 300 gallon tank or something, or tanks.
Yeah.
300 gallons?
Yeah, that's about what a truck has, isn't it? 18-wheeler.
I don't know.
With the 75 an hour, so that gives it 4 hours of flying time. I would think that's probably reasonable.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't know what the
75 gallons, 150, 300 gallons. Yeah.
yeah.
My feeble arithmetic.
So that's a gallon a minute, though. Woohoo.
That's sucking that stuff down.
Yeah, but it's working hard, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
it's not like ticking over, is it? I mean, that's a lot of lift,
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts, a lot of friction, a lot of power. I did look it up. Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I am too. I had to get up
Whenever-
early this morning and take the car over to the shop, and they still didn't get it done today. So
Man.
I reached in the back of my Ford Escape to pull out the IC208 because I wanted to reprogram it. So I pulled it out and discovered that I couldn't close the door wouldn't latch. So, and they've got a recall on that model where they've got to fix that. So I took it over to the Ford dealership, and they can't get it fixed till Monday because they got such a backlog. But so I guess it's as it is. So I'm immobilized for the weekend.
Man. Good.
Fortunately, I went on to my grocery store yesterday, so it's not a real problem.
Yeah, my truck got hit in February,
Yeah,
and it's still not getting repaired until the 28th of April.
good grief.
Yeah, I mean, it's running, it's working, but yeah. So it says the small pistoned powered helicopter normally uses somewhere between 6 and 16 gallons of fuel per hour. Large turbine powered helicopters can use between 20 and several hundred gallons of fuel per hour.
Fuel.
And more so, helicopters use more fuel when they're flying slowly or hovering than in cruise. So, and that's based on the Airbus helicopter that Ian mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm taking worst case because I can't imagine it would be less than 16 gallons per fuel. So it's pretty, I mean, that looked like it was semi hovering cruising, didn't it? It didn't seem to be, I mean, so, 16 gallons an hour, a gallon a minute. Oh no, 16 gallons an hour. No, that's not a gallon a minute, is it? No. Okay.
No.
I thought so. I was thinking 60, not 16. So yeah, that's all we've been up to at this end. I'm kind of looking forward to playing around with this ham stick because they do seem to work quite well. So
You've
hopefully,
got, which bands have you got ham sticks for?
oh, all sorts mixed. I've got 17, 12, 40, 20, 75, 6. I haven't got one for 10 and I haven't got one for 12.
Yeah.
Which is what I'd like. I keep picking them up at Hamfest. You can buy them for $10.
Yeah, they aren't expensive.
But I noticed there is a difference. The really good ones, and I've only got 2 of those, have got brass fittings and stuff on the top. And they're a little more expensive. But the regular run-of-the-mill ones, I mean, I've yet to go to a Hamfest where there aren't any.
Yeah.
And then there's quite a few where the piece of paper is rubbed off the bottom. So you got to figure out what those are. You know, I mean, you can figure out a little bit by looking at them, but because some of them are loaded, the coil is more in the middle if you look, you know, because they look like they're dipped.
Yeah.
And
then they'll have a stinger on the end.
Yeah, and you've got to cut that stinger because if any of that stinger goes inside the coil, it screws with the resonant frequency.
It has to be tuned.
So yeah, I mean, lots of people make them and you can buy them. I mean, at Hamfest, there's always, you know, like somebody with a bucket full of them. You know?
Yeah, there was some at the Fort Myers Ham Fest you could get.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I took 2 or 3. I didn't say any. I was asking $10. I had a 20-meter one that was still in the packet.
Yeah.
You know, and I was asking $10, but nobody wanted it. I think everybody's got some. I was looking for a 12 and I was looking for a 10. I'd like a 10, 1 or 2. And I'd like some more 6s, but, you know, I didn't have time to look when I went up to Orlando because I went up and back in one day and I didn't do much. Well, I went up to look at the hex beam. I went up to talk to the SDR Uno guy. I had specific things to do, and we were only there from about 11 until 4, maybe 3:50, and we stopped for lunch. So I spent quite a lot of time with the hex people.
Yeah.
And I spent quite a little time with Steve on
Which hex beam did you look at?
The Buddy Pole one.
The Buddy Pole? Yeah.
That's the one I've, because it collapses down. You don't need nuts and bolts to take it apart.
Yeah, Bob Lewis here has those.
Yes, he was there. He was putting his up and down. I don't like some of the things he's done to it. He seems to, I was talking to Chris, the guy, the owner of Buddy Pole, about his. I mean, he's desperately short of staff. I mean, if he wasn't the other side of the country, he's in Oregon, you know, I'd have gone and worked for him for a couple of weeks. You know, because I used to be a pre-production engineer and that's what he wants. He wants someone to get it into production. I did think about flying up there, but with COVID and everything, but I might think about it again after May is out the way.
Yeah.
And get up there when it's a bit hot down here. I can go up there. I might go, you know, he says he got somewhere I can stay. So I might go up there for 3 or 4 weeks and see what's going on here because I got my mom-in-law living with me and she's not too well, so I can't really run away for a long time. But yeah, I was looking at his because I'm looking to see if I can do a partial dismantle.
Yeah.
So that I can fold it up so it can just put it in the garage.
Yeah.
Because I say, if I got to spend 40 minutes putting it up, and okay, I can save 5 minutes per band. So I don't think I'll ever put 6 meters up because I'm pretty well covered for 6 meters.
Yeah.
Here,
I'll just put my meters on mine.
No, it depends if it's fed from the top or the bottom. If it's fed from the bottom, then 6 meters affects 12 meters. But if it's fed from the top, evidently it doesn't.
Well, that's strange. Now, mine is fed from the top.
Okay, so it shouldn't affect the 6 as well.
Yeah, but I don't have I didn't put the 6 on it.
Yeah.
I could always go back, put it on later. So I just have to take the thing down. But
yeah,
not worrying about it right now.
No, well, the other thing is that he's making a motor
Anyway,
because it's on that rotatable mast, you know, with a
Yeah.
handle at the bottom of the mast.
yeah,
And he's got a motor that's actually Bluetooth. So the motor is Bluetooth controlled. So the controller, so you got no cables or anything. So I thought that was pretty cool.
that's
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah. I was kind of working on one of those here with those little 2 rev per minute motors you can get
Yeah,
off of Amazon. Because there's no weight, it's £9.
yeah,
So it's no mate. So, and if you rotate the whole mast, you know, you've got nothing complicated and it's all at ground level.
yeah,
And the mast, that MastWorks mask is a tripod, and that's already got a handle on it from what it is. So all you got to do is take the handle off and drive the handle mechanism.
yeah.
So it works quite well. But he's been working on one with Bluetooth. Somebody else is doing it. So, you know, it's going to be about $150, which I didn't
Use
think
your
was too bad.
phone to turn the road.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess he's going to have a little kind of Bluetooth device. I don't know. But that's another thing. So the whole thing looks good. The package looks nice, except for the erection time. If it's going to take 40 minutes, even 30 minutes, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would take that long, but then I don't know. I think most of that might be consumed in actually putting the antenna itself together. I wouldn't
Yeah,
think
well,
the tripod would take
it works quite well. The base is, you've got fiberglass rods, which
Yeah.
fold up. They're shock corded. And there's no screws, no nuts, no bolts or anything like that, because the rods just push in.
Yeah.
They
so-
push in, and then you've got along the top, and it's just clips. You've got a shock cord that runs from each one to the center, top of the center post to the next one. So it goes over, so it goes all the way around. And then once you've done that, then you've got to hang each individual antenna. And they've got shock cords in between because it's, you know, 2-element beam. They got shock cords in between. But at the moment, it's running about 45 minutes to put the whole thing together.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
Which,
You might be able to actually get yourself practiced such that you could cut that down. But
well,
yeah.
if I could take the elements out and just fold them all up together,
yeah,
then
So-
that would cut that time in half.
yeah,
And that's what I was talking to Chris about. And he says that's kind of quite a good idea, because what he does do, he gives you a second mast for setting the thing up. So you can set it up, you know, really close to the ground. And we could use that as a storage device by putting a clip on the bottom.
yeah,
So, but at the moment, he's just concentrating on getting production running of the hex beam, because really he's a year out,
yeah,
you know, and he's got all the stuff. He just hasn't got people to pay on him. He hasn't got, you know, kits and stuff to, you know, like a production line,
yeah.
you know, which bit you do first, you know, which bit, you know, you need, it just needs, you know, production engineering just to get it running, or production management. And he's just having a lot of problems with staff. And, you know, at the moment, he said it's just in boxes everywhere. And,
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard to get people to work, and it's also hard to get parts. So
yeah, well, he's just managed to get all that. Well, fortunately, he's got it's kind of a halfway house with a, you know, 3D printer. It's actually, you know, he makes the stuff. I think it's a cross between extruded and extrusion. And the plastic he uses is really, really strong.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want that cracking and breaking.
yeah,
And the fiberglass poles, he's got those shock corded and everything. He buys them in shock corded, and they stagger down. And then he's got clips that fit on at the staggering point, so as he gets the dimensions right.
yeah. I meant to tell Ian when he was still on Max Gain Systems has got their fiberglass poles in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in case you're interested, which they use to make hex beams.
Yeah.
Because he was going to buy a hex beam kit like I did, And the holdup was that they couldn't get the fiberglass spreaders. Well, they got them in now.
Yeah, but he's bought one now. He's bought that used one.
He's already got that used one, so
Yeah.
it's the older design. But I have a feeling that if you wanted to, you could rearrange the wiring on it to be more like the new design. But I don't know yet.
I looked it up. I'm pretty sure you can, but you have to have the new design has longer cables, but they're further up the mast. I think the pole's the same length. I think they're just further up. So you're going to have to move the clips up. And I don't know how the clipping system is on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. But
you know,
if he wanted to go back and redo that, he probably could.
Yeah. But I think the current, I don't know what the difference is between the new design and the old design. I mean, is it significant?
Is wider banded.
So, wider bands. Okay.
Yeah, it's wider banded. It's more broadbanded.
So if you're gaining more bandwidth, you're probably losing a little bit of gain, are you?
Could be. Now mine's the newer design, but I don't think I've had any problem. I've been contacting Bosnia and Serbia and all those places over there with it, so it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, they seem to be. Well, there's a lot of people got them, and that's usually a clue, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been doing quite. Actually, what's interesting at the moment on 6 meters, there's people making contact into Hawaii from central US. I think it's Hawaii.
Wow.
Really? You want my help?
No, it's not. It's into New Zealand.
Pretty please with a cherry on top.
Oh, I might have to disappear in a second. Have a quick look. My antenna's not pointing in that direction. I've got 3 antennas for 6 meters at the moment. One pointing, the 4 element in the attic is pointing northwest.
Yeah.
Northeast is a 2 element pointing towards Europe. Southeast, is a Moxon, and I've got another Moxon, but it's not up there yet to point southwest. But that's what I'd have to use. But it's up there, but it's not connected yet. So because I can't rotate, so I put 4 antennas up.
Rotate, so you have to have multiple antennas.
Yeah, put 4 up there instead. I got a ton of. It doesn't seem to be affecting everything too bad. You know, I've got 2 center fed offsets, one at 40 and one on 80, and they run in opposite directions. And there's a little bit of difference in gain, and I've got several 2 meter antennas up there, 170 SEMS, and I've got a end fed half wave, which is too long. I've got to cut it down, but I'm tempted. It's a 40 meter end fed.
Yeah.
But I'm tempted because it's too long just to add some more to it and make it into an 80 meter end fed, because it will run in the opposite direction to the 80 meter off center fed.
Consider.
So
do you prefer to operate CW or voice?
Voice or FT8.
Oh,
I'm working on CW.
Yeah.
I've got a little.
It's basically in the CW band.
Yeah, I just bought one of those more Serenos, and I've just signed up for the Long Island CW club.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna try to improve my CW.
Yeah, I've been doing the slow speed test.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the K1 USN slow speed test, you can look that up. That usually runs like Friday at 4 p.m. and Sunday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
An hour.
That comes from the AAR headquarters, doesn't it?
No, that's not ARRL. That is the it's a club up in Massachusetts. It's the K1 USN club.
Yeah, but I thought they were using the AIRR headquarters.
No, I don't think. Maybe that would be news to me, but I don't think so.
Yeah, because AARL also do slow speed CW, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do some.
They do every morning, I think. They start at 5. They do 5, 10, 15,
Yeah,
20,
they're
and 20.
sending bulletins and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
send the bulletin out, the news.
So
Yeah, we
this
haven't
is
been
an
getting the
actual
news
operating
lately.
command.
I don't know what's up.
Do QSOs, yeah.
I don't know what's happening to their news. We're not getting the news lately.
I
You know, they
think
used to send a news.
they had some kind of power issue up there. They're working on their power, and they had their web page was down for a couple of days. And
Well, they had a total new
they put a new web page in.
new website up, and I saw it briefly. It didn't look much different than the other one, but they were
No.
having all sorts of problems, and I don't even know if it's back up yet.
Oh yeah, it was back up.
It
I was
was,
looking at this afternoon for something else.
yeah. Yeah, I don't get on there very often, I must admit. But you know, it's what it is. So what have you been up to, Joseph, up there?
Not a lot with radio so much. Just been going to work and stuff. But I mean, I have my tower. HOA still hasn't said anything about it, which is amazing because you can see it as soon as you turn into the neighborhood. It's taller than all the houses, and it's I don't know why they haven't said anything, but I'm not complaining. So that's up there, and I've
Don't
got
vote
my
for mayor.
yeah. Don't, because if you do, I'm gonna put up a million more antennas and dishes. I got the weather station. I guess I know about that. The thing I've been working on more recently is I've showed this in the past a few times, but this thing
Oh
is
yeah,
coming along. I got the doors. Man, I need to turn this off. It's
yeah. We need
cutting
to
out
see
the
that. We need
video.
to see the bins.
Sure, none. Okay.
That's better.
I got the doors printed for it. Man, it's and there goes the door. It fell off. But
So
it's
what
all
is
one
it?
piece now. It's a model of a space off-road vehicle from a show called Lost in Space. But
I know Lost in Space.
I've got the door printed here. I've got two doors now. So the next step is to paint this thing. And I figured out what I'm going to do for the wheels. I'm just going to buy a cheap RC car off Amazon and just steal the front suspension pieces and everything and just put them under here, because I was going to design my own and I realized that it's just too much work. But the doors go in, they're going to have servos in there. It'll open them up and close them. I'm going to use a CNC machine to cut out little plastic sheets to go in the windows. And then at the top here, I've designed the roof rack that goes up here, but I haven't printed it yet. So this is a work in progress. I'm hoping to get this done by Hamfest, for the Huntsville Hamfest, so that I can drive it around and put our sign on it, the club thing I'm running up here, put a sign for it on there and try and get people to come over to our table. So that's pretty cool. I took kind of a break from working on it, and then I kind of started again. So I hope I can get this done eventually.
You got till August.
What?
You got till August.
I know. So I got to kind of work on a little bit more if I want to get it done in time. The other thing I've been messing with is this. This is a Kenwood TR2600. I really love the little S meter.
Yeah,
That's so cool. But the problem is the back of it was cracked when I got it, and you can't really fix that. So I'm going to try and find like another one on eBay or something and try and get it for real cheap so I can switch out the parts. But no one sells those on eBay. They sell this. You can find a ton of this radio, 2500, but there's only like one or two listings for the 2600. Although one of them was a pretty good deal. It was a 2600, or no, it was 2500. It was this one. But it had a microphone and a breast mic and a charger. It had like so many accessories with it, and they only wanted $125 for it. But if y'all see a Kenwood 2600 for sale anywhere, let me know. I already know about the one or two listings that are on eBay, but if y'all see them anywhere else.
Is that TD 2600?
No, it's TR 2600.
TR, okay.
Yeah. And it's got the little S meter on top, which is so cool. This one kind of is weird though. These two radios both run off the same voltage battery pack, supposedly 8.4 volts. Now I have a 2-cell LiPo in here, lithium polymer battery, and those run at about 8.2 volts when they're fully charged. If I put this into this radio, it works fine. But this radio, which has the same voltage requirement, won't run off of it. And it gives the low battery error. Even though the other radio, which advertises the same voltage requirement, it won't work. If I turn it on, work for a second, and then it'll say UL, which I guess means low voltage.
Yeah.
And you can't really use it, I guess. So I got to figure out a way. I got to get some like lithium ion cells for it or something that will actually have the correct voltage, and then hopefully it'll work.
I've been using a lot of those LiPos because you can buy 5. The LiPo 650 milliamp ones, you can buy 5 for $19 on Amazon.
I just have a ton of these
Oh,
things.
you're 1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been using the 650s because, you know, I've got RAC boats and I use them on my Rig Expert, and I use them in the controller for the switch box upstairs. Anywhere really that I've been using the little batteries, and those 650s, you know, they seem to last forever. Yeah, because nothing, you know, like the MFJ, I put 4 in. You know, the MFJ SWR thing, you know, the same one as, I'm going to get rid of mine. I'm not that happy with it, but I did some wheeling and dealing. I got rid of my old Rig Expert and bought one of the newer ones, the 600, so I can use it right the way up. It's a little expensive, but I did some wheeling and dealing anyway, so it didn't actually cost me anything.
So if I show you this is a 220 rig.
I love that you have that. That's so cool.
Yeah, ICO3AT. It's a brick, but it's about one of the few 220 rigs out there you can find that's about that size. It puts out 5 watts. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
Yeah. Have you got 220 up?
I think we have one repeater. We may have one.
Well, that's what we got here is one repeater too.
Yeah.
I've had this for years and years and years.
How long does it take to get to Huntsville from here?
15 or well, you're down in Naples, so 16 hours if you were to drive straight through, but no, that is counting stopping. Yeah, about 16 hours.
Do you go
not a
by
fun drive.
Atlanta or you do go through the back roads?
We take I-10 and go up through Dothan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Dothan,
would
Alabama.
make sense too. Yeah, then you can just jump on I-65 and go straight in.
Yeah.
Probably what you're doing.
That's a little bit too far. I was thinking of maybe going up because we kind of like our Hamfests kind of dry up, and there's nothing until, you know, the beginning of January. We don't have anything. No,
if you're gonna come up, you should absolutely come up if you think you might want to, because the Hamfest here is apparently very amazing, and we have this radio museum that I showed y'all.
Yeah.
That's another cool place.
The Huntsville Hamfest is one of the best Hamfests in the country.
It's supposed to be number 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Number
you know, because
3.
Dayton, I'd love to go to Dayton, but that's just
Behind
too far.
Dayton and Orlando, it's one of the best in the country.
Yeah, well, Dayton is the largest in the world.
Yeah.
It's bigger than, I think, no, second, because the Japanese one is supposed to be the biggest.
In Japan or Germany.
Yeah, it might be. I think it's Japan, but
yeah.
I'd like to go to Dayton sometime, but you know, we can't really travel that much.
Well, I'm gonna try and get Ian to come up here for the Hamfest.
No, that'd be cool.
I hope he can come because he'd have a really good time up here, I think.
Yeah. Normally it's like Orlando. I really enjoy the tailgating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I did it up at the Fort Myers Hamfest. The tailgating was quite good. I actually got some good things out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Huntsville, all the tailgating is inside because it's usually last time I was up there for the Huntsville Hamfest, it was 106 degrees outside.
Yeah. August is not a great time, is it?
A little bit spicy.
So putting it inside was a smart idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I got quite a few things that, things that were questionable, but they all turned out to be good in the end. Including, I got 3 antennas, all that I've got working now. And I bought those all 3 for $30 because they weren't working. So,
you'll get some.
That was good. I figured, it's like I say, there's this figure, $30 is worth making a risk for,
Another thing
Anything
I
more
like
than
about the Huntsville Ham Fest is it attracts all of the manufacturers.
Yeah.
I think you got
Yep.
all of them come in, including Ellicraft. I think they come too.
Yeah,
Everybody's gonna come.
They've been having
Although
trouble with that.
Gigaparts was like they're gonna, but they haven't bought their table for the Hamfest yet, and they're like, we ask them why, and they say, well, we're waiting for the other vendors to buy their tables, which I think is dumb. I think they should buy their table instead of saying, oh, well, if ICOM's not going to be there, then we're not going to be there. But I don't know.
I guess everybody's throwing their money into Dayton this time, aren't they? Because Dayton hasn't been running for 2 years. Orlando only missed 1 year because of the timing.
Yeah, they had some of their vendors.
Dayton, Orlando, there was 2 or 3 manufacturers that were missing or they were low profile. There was nobody from Kenwood at Orlando. There was the Icon booth was, pretty small, and the Yaesu booth was kind of odd. It was kind of spread out. It was, just one of each radio with kind of a cheap table, and that was it, with a piece of plastic over the top of it. Not really big. Gigaparts just had like computers and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't.
What
They
in the world?
didn't have a lot. What, you're about to blow up?
Please don't launch any missiles from there.
Yeah. Anyway, it's coming up to the witching hour. I should have been in bed an hour ago, but
Yeah, I'm probably going to get going too. It's almost 11 o'clock.
yeah, I got the dog again this weekend. So my daughter's dog comes and stays here. It's here more than it is at her place now because she's a teacher.
Joseph is an hour behind us.
Hour behind.
Yeah.
It's 9:51.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, that's a
Trying.
point.
I think so. A while ago, remember when we tried to do our airplane tracking? We did our airplane tracking thing on tried to do on Linux, and the virtual radar server program didn't work. Well, I got it working.
Sweet.
It apparently does work, and now I'm going to see if I can pick something up.
Bring it puppy up.
Thinking about putting a antenna out there. See if I can get some airplanes, because we have a lot of military traffic around here.
Yeah.
With training and all kind of stuff. So having this running would be super cool. Hey,
Oh,
it
spacecraft
works.
up there, aren't you?
Spacecraft? Not out of here, but not out of here. We just have lots of training being done. So you'll see like fighter jets and helicopters and stuff flying around all the time.
I thought the spaceships were made up there somewhere. Spacecraft.
Rockets.
I don't think any are made up here.
Oh, okay.
That they do like military contractors. There's a lot of those up here. So there's something to do with it, but they're not. I don't think they like build it and ship it out up here.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that happening.
And they've got a rocket museum there.
Yep, the Davidson Center for Space Exploration. Drive past there every day almost. They got the 2 models of the. They got one real rocket, I believe, and one model. And the model is outside, stood up, and then the real one I think is inside, and they've blown up the sections so you can see what's in there.
Oh.
It's a pretty cool place. And they have communications. So for their radios, for like just the employees that work there, they use a ham like a repeater on on 70 centimeters, and every now and then it'll ID with Morse code, just like a normal ham repeater.
Yeah.
I don't know why they use that system.
Must be just off of 77s, mustn't it? Because they wouldn't be allowed to.
Probably up around 460 or something, maybe
Yeah.
GMRS or one of the
Yeah,
business bands.
it's 453.6625.
Yeah,
That's what they use.
commercial band of some kind. Definitely out of the ham band.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is it just FM or is it encoded somehow?
It's FM.
Oh, okay.
And the funny thing is that I can hear at our house with my big old tower. I can hear them if I'm here during the day. Yep, I can hear their communications.
Wow.
Just they have their repeater somewhere high up, I guess.
Yeah.
Listen to what they're talking about. It's usually just
can't-
like janitorial stuff.
You may be up on the mountain somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, you can't hear them on the input, I guess.
I don't know the input. I don't know what their offset is. Otherwise, I could.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the point.
It may be 5 megahertz, just like the ham bands.
Yeah.
It might be, but this seems to. I hear all the traffic through this, so
Well, there's
I-
not many repeaters, are there? There's the Motorola ones and the Yaesu ones. Well, I know the Yaesu ones are used commercially. The Icon ones aren't because they tend to be D-Star. And, you know, not too many commercial setups are using
Yeah,
D-Star.
the Yaesu ones are known as Vertex Standard when they're in commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same system, isn't it? But they give it a different name. So the Yaesu ones are pretty hot. And really, they're not that expensive, especially for someone commercial.
well, they don't have to be using any of those brands. They could be using some random thing, right? I mean,
Well, they could, but the thing is, it's cost effective to buy something that already exists.
okay.
You know, if you have to go, you know, reinvent the wheel, and if it's just, you know, like a variation on GMRS or something, you know, they're not going to spend thousands of dollars on communications for their janitorial services, are they? They're going to buy something that's off the shelf. You know, that's where Motorola made all their money, isn't it? Because Motorola systems they'll tune everything from, I think, like 30 megs right the way up to almost a gig, won't they?
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's two different bands.
Motorola and GE were the big two in
Yeah.
land mobile radio. I don't know what they're using now.
Well, Motorola is still in there, but mainly because they still do like the fire and police systems.
Yeah.
And also local,
systems.
you know, local municipalities and stuff.
Yeah.
But you see, they tend to have trickle down, you know, like the local, you know, municipality will have the radios that used to be used in the fire service or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll trickle down from there. So they don't.
Yeah, I want to eventually build a pair of SDRs that will tune the new P25 system here. That would be great to be able to do that. And I
Yeah,
understand
that's what we're trying to do.
what you guys are up to. So I'll probably be following along right behind you when you do that. But you just use those dongles like you got in your hand there. I use
Yeah.
two of those. One of them you put on the control frequency, and the other one moves around.
Well, the good news is that because they're on P25, that means that they could be encrypted, but that P25 system is very commonly used with the software that these things interact with. So it shouldn't be too hard once we actually try and do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Hopefully it's not encrypted. I think if we can get the stream up before whoever was running the stream before, then they may not turn theirs on and we'll have a monopoly on the Fort Myers police stream.
Yeah.
That'd
What
be
do they
pretty
got
funny.
up there in Huntsville?
Up here, I believe it's encrypted. I have tried to figure out what's going on, and I believe it's all 800 megahertz encrypted.
Yeah.
It's the old phone. Just below the old telephones then.
Yeah.
I guess there's like, if I
Before
go
they-
up to, well, they have some, I'm trying to think, because they have some kind of rebroadcast thing for their different like talk groups up on 800 megs. That's FM, but it sounds digital. So I think their actual system is probably FM. And the problem is you can't just use those retransmissions because they only, if you just tune to one of them, then you miss out on most of the activity. I don't really know what they're, because there's like 10, 15 different signals that'll be active when you go up there. And they're all different cars or different dispatch areas or something,
Yeah.
Don't want to make it too easy for you.
Yeah, they gotta make it hard. I'm not tracking any planes right now. I guess there's just none flying around.
Antennas unplugged.
It's surprising for Huntsville.
Well, yeah, you'd think there'd be stuff. So I'm considering, but all my antennas are. Now, see, I should be tracking something. I feel like I need to try different.
Don't do
keywords.
like I did. Turn the radio on and gee, the bands are awful quiet. Well, duh, try hooking up the antenna.
Don't try calling CQ if you think the bands are unusually quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually look at one of the DX spotting networks.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I got so many thinking switches and stuff here that it's easy to get on the wrong one. I'm
I
trying
got
to slim things down, and all I seem to be doing is adding more. Yeah.
Yeah. My house has jalousie windows, so I took one of them out and put in and had an aluminum jalousie made and drilled 5/8 inch holes in it. And I've got a couple of ends and about 10 SO239 feed throughs going through it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I try not to bring too many cables down here, but it seems to have developed a life of its own.
Yeah.
It's expanding,
Yeah.
I
growing
it's
roots
not
into your
much in
house.
the attic here, but I've got to figure out where I want to do it. And then I'm probably going to drop several cables. So I've got enough for expansion.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to drop a couple here because I've at last got a decent 2 meter and 77s rig working, and I've got a satellite rig working.
Yeah.
I've got to take my mobile one out once I've got it programmed and put it in the car. And then I've got my own little repeater here, which I use around here onto 070.
And I got my latest acquisition.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you showed us that last time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what I see 2750.
2750.
Nice.
Works good. And it's strictly FM, but I figured that's fine. And it listens to both bands at the same time, which
Yeah.
is really nice.
That is a good feature to have on mobile installations.
Yeah.
I'm just not tracking anything at all right now. That is just weird.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm
Well, I'm going to call it a night.
all right.
Yeah, I think I need to do the same thing.
So we'll see you next week. Hopefully, I've got
a meeting in the morning and now on Zoom, and actually a couple of them, and I'm going to do Georgia QSO party.
All righty, guys. Well,
Let's see if I can talk to a bunch of old friends up in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with that. Best of luck with all your antics for the week, and we'll see you next week.
all right.
Good night.
See you
all.
later. 73s.
7-3.
73.
Well, what the heck? I plug in this thing and now it's working great. What?
That's coax problem.
Uh-oh. All right. See y'all later. I'm going to end.